We're all set.
Cool, let's stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Stevie, do the land acknowledgement, please.
The village and the town of New Paltz boards humbly acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Munsee, Esopus, and Lenape people. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 forced the people to relocate to inhospitable territory far from the bountiful valley and mountains we inhabit today. The village further acknowledges that much of the physical structure of our village and town was built by enslaved Africans who labored as the property of their owners until 1827 on this very land. We acknowledge and honor the contributions, resilience, and accomplishments of the BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, who have overcome historic injustice to inform our past and inspire our future. The Village of New Paltz encourages everyone to learn more about the contributions and sacrifices made by the Indigenous people and enslaved Africans by visiting these sites. If you have resources that you believe should be included here, please contact us. Thank you.
Thanks, Stevie. So first, I'll just motion to approve the joint village and town board agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Now, for announcements, first I want to share just a reminder to everyone here to please speak up so the microphone can pick up our voices. And we can gently nudge each other to remind each other to do this so that folks at home can hear and people can go back and listen after the fact. Also, we had a request from the press to, since we are lacking name tags, to do a quick go through of our names. So the press can get us who says what correct. So if we can do that quickly. And then I have a few announcements and then I'll kick it over to Tim and anyone else.
Rich Sudo, Village of New Paltz trustee.
Stevie Sessa, Village of New Paltz trustee.
Acting Mayor Alex Wojcik.
William Frank, village attorney, and also town attorney, and when there's a conflict between the town and the village, we have alternate counsel for that.
Alan Ross, Village of New Paltz trustee. Tim Rogers, town supervisor.
William Chano, deputy supervisor of the town.
Sean O'Sullivan, town board.
Lauren McFadden. Sorry, New Paltz Town Board trustee. Kate Ryan,
Council
town board.
person.
Council person. Kate Ryan, town. Kitty Brown, town board.
Thanks all. Okay, so a few quick village announcements. I had stuck just a note about the water treatment plant on there because we have on our consent agenda an item that I just was a bit larger bit of money than usually stuff on consent agendas. So just wanted to share, and also the memo had just an acronym. So I wanted to make sure that folks who are wonky like me and want to look this stuff up because it's pretty cool can look and see what that is. So basically it's about a VDF, which is a variable frequency drive, and it's failing. It's an emergency. So basically much appreciation to our Department of Public Works team. Whenever we say DPW, Department of Public Works, for being on top of this stuff. I did want to share an update about snow. So first we'll start with the bad news and then we'll go on to the good news. Bad news is this weekend, our community kind of failed the test when it came to moving vehicles in time for clouds to clear the streets. So there's lots of tickets and towing, but it looks like we might have an opportunity to, you know, ace that test this coming weekend. We'll see. So just a reminder, if there's snow in the forecast, plan accordingly. There is 29 spots in the Huguenot Street lot. And, you know, we're a community. We can, you know, work together and figure it out to get our streets, our cars out of the street. So let's do better next time. Tonight, beginning at 10 p.m., our Department of Public Works will be out clearing and actually moving the snow. This will be a task that takes the entire night. And once that task is done, we're having the building department review the sidewalks tomorrow. So if, you know, basically there's been nowhere for the snow to go, especially for like the Main Street sidewalk businesses. So we're working on that tomorrow. We'll get out there and check and start, you know, connecting with the offenders accordingly. So just a reminder that we need volunteers. I know the town has an announcement to the same end. Basically, there's plenty of room at every single table where decisions are made for any village residents who wish to volunteer. Please consider volunteering on one of our village boards, commissions, or councils. Even ones that don't have full voting roles open, do need alternates. So you can check out that information on the boards and commissions tab of the village website, or reach out to any of us for more information to that end. New York State Assembly member Shrestha is hosting a State of the State Town Hall this Friday, January 30th at 6:00 p.m. over on campus in Lecture Center Room 100. Her team does ask for folks to RSVP. So after this meeting, I will share on socials a little bit more about that. And I'll also share out what I learned after attending that event. Please join us for free community meals every Tuesday from 3:00 p.m. until 6 p.m. right here at Village Hall in the old fire truck garage bay. Just another thanks to Scott and Leanne for leading this effort. For additional food resources, go to ulstercorps.org and check out their map of meal programs. And just a reminder that, especially, you know, in light of recent events in which a fellow member of our greater LGBTQIA+ community, which I am a part of, was murdered. We have resources available right here, newpulsepridecoalition.org/resources-services, or you can reach out to me and I can connect you accordingly. So that's all I have. Tim, do you want to take it away on the town side?
Sure, to dovetail with what you were talking about in terms of need for members of boards and commissions. So for the town planning board, there's one open position and 2 alternate positions. Environmental Conservation Board, 1 position, Historic Preservation Commission, 1 commission. And I also wanted to share that the Office of Community Wellness is having a wellness pop-up Sunday afternoon at the Redeemer Lutheran Church. That's across from the SUNY PD station on Route 32. And that's Sunday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 3. There'll be free health and wellness offerings such as acupuncture, biofield tuning, Reiki, Narcan training, and more.
Cool. Any other council or trustees?
We should probably mention that the rescue squad and the fire department can always use more volunteers. So we should probably be announcing that at every meeting.
Right, thank you. And thank you for making that announcement.
There you go.
Awesome. Anyone else? All right. So now let's move on to the public input part of the meeting. So for just the lay of the land, we'll go through our sign-in sheet first. Then I'll ask anybody who wants to speak in person who did not sign in. Then we'll go to folks who are online in Zoom. When you come up, because we have 1 microphone, and we want to make sure that people who are watching this meeting from home or are going to watch it after the fact can also hear. There's a chair kind of at the table. You can come sit down. You basically just want to make sure this microphone can pick up, you know, who you are and what you're talking about. Or that microphone right there. Sorry, I'm just pointing at stuff now. And if you could keep it under 3 minutes, that would be fantastic. But I'm not timing anyone, but just keep it under 3 minutes. Okay, so Margaret, if you want to come up.
Yeah, you can
Perfect.
use that chair and just come closer. Hold the chair up.
If you want to sit.
No. My name is Margaret Human. I've lived in the town of New Paltz for about 2 decades. I'm here tonight to support the resolution supporting the New York for All Act and the MELT Act, which are being considered in the state legislature. This is who I am. I wear the mask because I don't want you to catch my cold. I do not have COVID according to the test. When I went to the Chester town meeting to protest the proposed ICE human warehouse there, one speaker said that even before the warehouse was announced, Chester had adopted a resolution in support of the 2 bills. So I think we should too. The MELT Act, the Mandating End to Lawless Tactics Act, Senate 8462 and A8908, that would be the assembly, the state, and this is the state legislature, would prohibit masks on agents and require them to display ID badges. The New York for All Act, State Senate 2235, Assembly 3506, restricts sharing of personal information with ICE by New York officials. It also prohibits the spending of New York state tax money to aid ICE. Both these acts would help us protect our residents and neighbors from abduction by ICE. ICE has been instructed to ignore the Fourth Amendment, which protects our safety in our homes. ICE has been killing protesters and protectors in the streets. We need to be proactive, ready for them in New Paltz. It's the people that must totally reject ICE. But protesting is not just getting arrested and booked by polite police anymore. We need more nonviolent civil disobedience training. We need to take the risks to protect our neighbor and democracy itself. And we need to know that our civil authorities in village, town, county, and state have our backs. So town and village boards, please begin by passing this resolution.
Thanks, Margaret. All right, next we have Saja Ahmed. Okay, and then after that, we have Katie Hamel.
That's the mic.
That's the mic, I pointed the wrong way, sorry.
That's it.
Hi. How are you?
And you might, if you, just make sure you speak up into
Oh,
it.
I thought that.
Okay, cool.
Hi. I don't usually do this. I don't support electeds really ever. I'm quite critical, and it's because I do it for a living, so I see a lot of what happens behind the scenes and how public office isn't always used to its most purposeful abilities. I'm new here, right? And when I first came here, a woman I came into contact with was experiencing extreme domestic violence. And I tried to help her, and I quickly realized that there was no services up here like there was in the city, like there's just not. And so I said, let's go in the group and tag your elected officials. And we did, and nobody responded. And it was getting worse, and she was in a hotel. And I said, well, there's that deputy mayor. And I went out to her, and she didn't just step in, she took over. Behind the scenes, away from everyone, and it was kind of like, oh, I guess this is what local government is. I had never experienced it before. I thought, of course, I'm horrified, and I'm just saying, let's report this. And then it happened again with a disabled neighbor of mine down the block. And I started to say, okay, it's really about one person. And then I really got to work with Alice in UCDW, Ulster County Down Women, and realized that I'm the mother of a neurodivergent child. There's a brilliance there, right? And I think having neurodivergent people in government is probably the best thing for a municipality. They just have a commitment to facts and data, and the bigger picture, and an injustice sensitivity that doesn't allow them to become corrupt. It's just a beautiful thing, and it's a representation that you don't see that often. She donates her time to my daughter's Girl Scout troop. She's an icon with them. You know, it just is, but there's a, you know, when I realized what they get paid, I was like, you work for a stipend? No, you gotta go to the city and make more money as a consultant. And it's like, no, I gotta stay here. I have work to do. She experienced homelessness for this place. And the amount of attacks and bigotry and lack of, you know, acceptance here is really gross. Let's be honest, this is an all white board. Everybody that is of color is no longer here. You've got a queer woman over there who's neurodivergent, who has proven herself. And the fact that you let that go and break up continuity of governance through, this is going through an election in November. She knows what she's doing. She knows what's going on. She knows where everything is. Why would you let your constituents have that disruption in representation just for 11 months? You're not doing them a service. If you didn't, if she's not capable of the job, they wouldn't have appointed her. So, I mean, you gotta just look at this as, let the voters decide in November. She was elected already. Let her just finish her job. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thanks, Kate. Next we have Susan, Piauti. Piawati, sorry, people always say my name wrong.
I like long drag. Hi, my name's Susan Piawati. And I'd like to talk about the consolidation of the village in the town. And I'd like to know what the plan is to let we of the town and the village know exactly what the plans are. It's come upon, I know that you, Tim, ran with that, and I'm concerned you're just gonna run with that. And I am against the consolidation of the town, but maybe I'm wrong in the village, and maybe I'm wrong. So I'd like to know how the town will be compensated for the cost of the village sewage and water issues, because I'm sure if we, the town people, will now be responsible in our taxes to cover those costs. And so if that's the case, then I'm wondering if you're gonna help with our septic fields and our own water table issues, because that would be the only fair, yes.
This is a super easy response. I just, ratepayers and taxpayers are not commingled. So if you're a municipal ratepayer, whether you're in village or in a town water or sewer district, you pay for what you use. So there would never be a situation where someone who has a septic system or a private well would be subsidizing the municipal ratepayer.
Well, I'm sure, but what about the repair of the water system?
Paid for by ratepayers.
Well, that's,
All capital projects are paid for by ratepayers.
I would also like to know how much money that the town supervisor will they get when they're all one. And if there will no longer be anybody, if there's gonna be somebody running the village issues, which are always different than the town issues, I'd like to know if that person then has a salary. And then we need to know the total of those two salaries, and is it even worth it? Or is this just a way for people to make more money or to make things more complicated? And I'd like also for those figures to be laid out in the paper so that we can, with a comparison to now and present, and a comparison of what it's gonna be, and the proposal of what the tax increase is gonna be over the next, whatever, 20 years. I'll be dead by then.
So
God help me.
there's a draft dissolution study. It's 123 pages and has many of the details that you're talking about. Plus by law, New York State Article 17A, General Municipal Law. All of these things have to be discussed and explained in a public setting, and there are required public hearings. You know, that process has not begun yet. The consolidation agreement has not been written yet. It's largely going to be based on the dissolution study that was authored and completed in May of 2025.
Who did that study?
The study was paid for with New York State Department of State money. And the consultant was the LaBerge Group, and the village was the one who spearheaded the dissolution study. So what we have on this agenda here is a joint board initiated consolidation process. So the two boards work collectively and collaboratively to author a consolidation agreement that the community has to review. The entire town, this is also a resolution on this current agenda, would have the opportunity to vote on whether or not to consolidate based on the terms outlined in that consolidation agreement that has not been written yet, but will be largely based on the dissolution study from December of 2025.
How did you come up with it? How do you pronounce it? The LaBerge?
LABERGE.
How did you come up with that? As they're the ones.
There was a process where various consultants within New York State were responding to an RFP to go ahead and assist the town and village with the creation of this study.
Okay, so sorry, I don't want to interrupt a good flow, definitely, but I want to make sure everyone who wants to speak gets a chance to speak, and we're technically supposed to not do a back and forth.
No problem.
I'm so glad you're asking these questions, and when we get to that consolidation issue on our agenda, I will have lots of answers for you.
Great, thank you.
Definitely. So next we have Joe Marinak.
I'll speak about the American 250.
Okay, thanks. Excited about that. And then we have Matthew Cotton. You're not gonna speak? Okay, and then, Luke, I can't, Sass,
No.
oh, you're just signing in? Okay, Alan Goldhammer?
Hello,
Hey,
I live in Esopus. I moved to Oakland Valley in 1975. I graduated from New Paltz, I've been around. And I went down to Chester for the village meeting and the town meeting down there. And I'm concerned, I see that there's an opposition in, well, the supervisors of Ulster and Orange County are opposed to this, Pat Lyons opposed to the ICE facility there. And there's a very interesting, presentation made by the governor of the Washington state recently that talked about opposition at the state level. And I'm talking about opposition at the state level. And I'm speaking in favor of the part of the joint resolution 2026 that includes the MELT Act and the New York for All Act. And I want to also bring attention to another act that is relevant to this and perhaps should be included. It's called the Dignity Not Detention Act. It's Senate, let me scroll a little. Senate S316, sponsored by Julia Salazar and Assembly version is A4181. It prohibits governmental entities from entering into agreements to house individuals in immigration detention facilities. It requires governmental entities to terminate existing contracts for the detention of individuals in immigration detention facilities. So that goes together with the other bills. And I'm very glad that you're considering this now. I think it's important. And I would like to help and do my part to get other supporting resolutions. So if anybody would like to speak to me about that, I'd like to discuss it. Thank you very much.
thank you, Alan. Jolanda, did you want to talk now or?
First now and then
Yeah.
at the end.
Okay, cool. Come on up.
Joe Londa, so many of you are new on the town board and the village, the village board members wouldn't have much knowledge of it. So I share it in them with that, intention for you. Everybody.
Thanks.
Just finished. I forgot it was a joint meeting. I printed it out just that. The topic is battery energy storage. I just wanted to make you familiar with what I think is outstanding business for the town board. We have been working in the town on battery energy storage since fall of 2022. When Supervisor Leo Betts asked me to lead a task force to craft law and zoning for battery energy storage, which if you're following the news is getting lots of coverage. Some good factual information and a fair bit of misinformation as well. Just a quick timeline. So from 2022 in fall to March 7th, 2024, we drafted the law that was brought to the town board on March 7th. It's in the minutes and there's a copy on file of the draft law, which was vetted by the legal department for public comment. The board decided to table the topic and directed me to the planning board to obtain their comment. On March 25th, I did that. They did not have comment, but they asked for a safety study group to be formed. That was done on July 10th, 2024, in a joint town and village board meeting. And then I returned a year later, July 17th, 2025, with that completed work package, which had two members from the planning board participate in creating that safety study. It's again, part of the records and in the minutes. So where we're at is that this is still out there as an unfinished piece of business. It could be, it stays that way, or it could be that you move it forward to craft some kind of town of law and zoning. You could go, I won't tell you which way to go. There's lots of different ways you can go, from doing nothing, don't regulate it, all the way to, yes, let's go further than what was documented in the proposed draft law. But what you are seeing is that the transformation of scaling for energy storage is happening, and it's probably going to continue because it's an important part of servicing the electric demands that are growing in our society, as well as beating back increasing rates and also diminishing the greenhouse gas emission as well. So all of these things, it's a complex subject, but I do want to make you aware of the fact that this is still open business from my perspective. The town still affected.
Open business meaning that the public hearing remained open.
Yeah, I don't think it was actually closed.
That's what I mean.
Did it ever get that far to a public hearing
Yes,
It did, yes,
with the town?
yes.
with the town.
Okay.
While the subject was, in the minutes, was said it was tabled, it doesn't really say if that meant public comment was closed. It just that the subject was going to wait for feedback from the planning board. And we didn't get feedback, but we did do the safety study as additional
The town
information.
clerk has explained to me that the public hearing remains open.
Thanks,
So there we
Joe.
go.
The secret of it?
I don't know.
It's to be continued.
Recall if the town board ever declared the agency under secret?
Oh, no, we didn't get that far, but
All right.
just to follow up quickly,
Um,
at the Climate Smart Task Force meeting, we, agreed to get an opinion on the draft law from the environmental law group, which is doing pro bono environmental law review for us. So I hope we will have a law for us all to look at too.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so Sajo, I'm gonna get through the rest of the list and then look back up to you, if you don't mind. Paul Williamson,
Good evening. I'm basically here very quick introduction to myself. And this actually follows on the topic that Joe just spoke on. My name is Paul Williamson. I'm from a company called Key Capture Energy out of Albany. We've been exploring the possibility of doing an energy storage project here in New Paltz for some time now. I was assigned to manage that exploration in September. And we're working through this patiently, and one of our objectives as we work here in the town of New Paltz is to see if we can find a location that will provide the least amount of impact to the town, while also providing the greatest benefit both to the town and also to the regional grid. And so again, I'm just here to introduce myself to you, let you know that I'll be working here throughout the town in the near future. And also avail myself as a resource to you and anybody in the public who would like to come forward and ask me any questions about our objectives as we look here in New Paltz.
awesome. Thanks, Paul. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you have a card, you can give to Kitty and we'll get your contact from her. All right, Gigi Fries.
Thank you.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Okay, never mind.
Wait a second, I just wanted to ask you, I thought there was something last meeting about the Woodland Farm project, but I don't see it on the agenda. When's that coming up?
Planning board.
Yeah, that's a planning board thing. All right, so Miriam Strauss.
Hi, my name is Miriam Strauss. I've been in the Hudson Valley since 1985 and in New Paltz over 20 years in the town and the village. And I want to thank Margaret for bringing this potential resolution about the Melt Act and New York for All to the board's attention, and strongly hope that you support it. And I was also down in Chester, not inside the town hall, but something that was very salient for me, for anyone who knows my personal history out of the town, is that the former Pep Boys warehouse that they are proposing as the site for this detention center to warehouse 1,500 detainees, kidnapped people, happens to be in a floodplain, and we know how well that worked out during Katrina. So I think that's one more mark against it, but, I strongly urge you to support this resolution and to also work with the school district to support the people who are at risk there. I know there are people over there tonight at the board meeting working to strengthen the school's commitment to protecting the students there and their families. Thank you.
Thanks, Miriam.
Sure.
Okay, Jackie Bronski.
Good evening, on this cold evening. And I haven't been going out at night, but this is important, so here I am. I'm also speaking to the resolutions that are in the New York State Congress. There are actually 4 acts. The one that hasn't been mentioned is access to representation. That would require that indigent immigrants who are picked up and detained would have the legal right for representation pro bono. And that is also important. By the way, I'm speaking really on behalf of UACT and the Immigration Committee. We've been working to try to get these bills out of committee. One of them, the New York for All Act, has been sitting there since 2020. And it's going to take quite a bit of calls, and not only to the heads of these committees, to Governor Hochul. We really need a full court press because there hasn't been movement on these key things. I think, by the way, this is the moment to do it. I think people are disgusted by what they're seeing ICE doing. And at least in our state, in our county, in our town and village, we can protect them as much as we're able. So I thank you for considering this resolution. And I hope that you'll not only vote yes on it, but also look at how you can really get this to happen.
Thank you so much, Jackie.
You're welcome.
All right, Sasha. Just make sure the microphone can pick you up.
Okay.
You can stand or sit, whatever feels good.
I will stand and address everyone in
But
here.
you need to address the board.
Okay,
This is,
And the mic.
this is,
public comment for the board?
yes, this is
Okay.
to address the board,
All right.
the joint.
Joint boards. My name is Sasha Ahmed. I'm here in my personal capacity. And I wanted to express my support for Alex Wojcik's candidacy for the Village of New Paltz mayor. I have never made a public comment, although I have participated in probably hundreds of public meetings at this point. In law school, I researched government in the sunshine and open meetings, and this is our chance to be heard in this moment that feels very, very dark for a lot of community members that are right here in the Village of New Paltz. I may not be a resident, but I have found solace in this community because when I bring my son to the Village of New Paltz playground, I see families that are just like the ones that I grew up with. And when my family came to this country, my parents came to the University of Minnesota, and I was born in Minneapolis. And when I see the families in New Paltz and the families that Alex dedicates countless hours to providing assistance, representation, and food, water, anything they need. The last time I called her, she said, I have to stop and there's this transient family that's in a shelter and I have to get them food.
And that is the type of leadership we need in this moment. I do not take it lightly that I'm here today and I'm able to speak. Last night, we saw a member of the community charge at a sitting member of Congress. That doesn't look that different from me and doesn't come from circumstances that different from mine. I appreciate that somebody else has stepped up, but this is the person that has the chops. We know that. And I've seen her just do everything possible to take care of this community, and you guys will be so lucky to have her fighting for you at this time. To all of you out there in the audience, thank you for participating in government. That is the cornerstone of our democracy. That is something that Alex lives and breathes, and we all know that because in our work with the party, she is always the one that is called upon to fundraise, to knock doors, and to get the students involved, as we did, what is it now, 3 years ago on the village campus, getting people involved. So to all of you out there, thank you for being here. Bring 2, 3, 4 people with you to every one of these meetings because it matters now more than ever. Thank you for letting me speak. I know it's maybe political in nature, but I felt really compelled to be here. It is my first time speaking into the record of a public meeting, and I am so honored, and I wanted to dedicate this before I forget to the memory of Marlene Alfieri, who is a dedicated activist and resident of the village of New Paltz, who in part brought me and Alex together. And at her memorial, Alex, and that's the beauty of New Paltz and university towns. They bring people together from all walks of life. And as someone who had never sat through a Christian, I'm sorry, service, it was so beautiful to see Alex teaching me the words to the hymns. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you do. There are people who may not be residents of New Paltz, but there are people in our community that come here to feel a sense of togetherness. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next, sorry, everyone's making me cry a little bit, but, next, I wanted to have anybody who wanted to speak in public comment, but might not have signed up, who's in person, and then we'll get to folks online, if that's all right. So anybody, that did not yet speak, who's in person, want to come up and just speak?
Just got 2 quick questions. I'm Pierrette Barber. I have a question about whether or not there's a conflict of interest. I was just reading the minutes. If the Labarge people did the study for the consolidation, is it conflict of interest for them also to write the grant application? Just a question, I don't know. The other thing I'm wondering is I also see that the town members will be voting on the consolidation plan. Will the village members also be? Just 2 questions I would like to see if they can be addressed when we get there. Okay,
We'll address those when we get there, yeah.
thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else? I can't necessarily see people. Anyone who didn't speak that wanted to, just come on up. All right, then let's get to folks who have not yet spoken, who are online.
One person with their hand raised.
Okay, Liz.
Hi. My name is Elizabeth Lee, and I live in the village of New Paltz, and I'm a member of Ulster Activists, and I'm asking the board, the village board and the town board to pass the resolution, the joint resolution to about the MELT Act and the New York for All Act, because it will protect the immigrants, not only the Latino immigrants, but the Asian immigrants in the community from ICE and their illegal tactics. So thank you.
Thanks, Liz. Anyone else online wishing to share a public comment? If you raise your hand, we can make sure we unmute you. Okay, cool. And then I saw a bunch of hands, did anyone but I don't know why. Joe, you want to make a second comment?
Different comment.
Okay.
Different topic. So recently, I was aware of a problem that came to my attention at the community center with regards to cooking. There's a propane stove, and no exhaust. So it's unhealthy to use the propane stove without an exhaust. I went over to take a look at it just to sort of understand what the situation was. While there, I sort of took a broader look at what do we got at the community center. In addition to replacing the stove with an electric stove and getting exhaust stove put in, that's a relatively small cost project. I mean, small, depending on your point of view. The other piece of it would be, how do we eliminate the propane? And that's by replacing the furnaces that are there and the AC compressors, which look, my quick estimate is somewhere in the age of 20 years, approximately. In other words, they don't have that much of a life left in them. So you would replace the compressors with bi-direction compressors, also known as heat pumps. Not mini splits. These are like Train or Lennox heat pumps. That would allow you to eliminate the propane completely. You now have a much more efficient heating and cooling system, and you have a functional kitchen. The third thing, if you went that far, would be to say, okay, let's reduce our electrical costs as well by putting in solar panels. What you would get out of this then is you get a more efficient building, meaning lower operating costs. And you could also begin to say you have a heat center, a cooling center, if we now have good control of the AC across the country. So in the process of pursuing this, I came across what you're going to discuss just momentarily, the local government efficiency grant. We can submit more than one, and I think we should. We should submit one for the communities. And it would be scoped at the kitchen.
It's due February 4th.
I know, that's why I'm here.
There's
I
no
think,
scenario where you can write a grant.
oh, you don't know me that well, do you? I bet, would you like to bet something?
Yeah, I'll bet you $1.
$1 it is. Yeah, there are things that we need, but some of them are easy to get. Some of them would not be easy to get, and we might decide not to include those things, such as the solar system. But the kitchen is easy because all purchasable items and a little bit of electricity, and even the heat pumps are purchasable, and you can get a quote on that. Now, yes, there's a particular process that we have to follow, but I think we should not lose the opportunity and apply, or at least let me try working with the recreation director to try to get.
I move to let Joe Londa author a grant application for the LGE that's due on February 4th.
Second.
President Mandon, I think that there are rolling deadlines for these grants. I don't think they're here to close as the
There are.
end of the world. Well,
Yeah, there's always other grants,
But
but this
I mean, I
particular.
think some of them are rolling like every month.
So,
This one has a hard deadline.
It's February 4th.
I am prepared to
This one.
Yeah,
step up
you're
to
right.
the challenge.
Yeah.
You just got voted in.
I might fail, I'm not failing.
We'll help you,
Fine.
we'll help you with any of the administrative stuff to
Right.
make sure that it gets submitted on the consolidated funding application portal. No
Oh,
problem.
And,
Thank you.
and to amend the motion authorizing any appropriate town official or village officials to execute the application.
yes.
oh yeah, so I second with that friendly amendment.
It's important to recognize this is a dual municipality application.
Right.
It's village, this would be a village and town application, and that means it would be a joint cooling center for town and village. Great, it's good.
Cool.
Okay.
So.
Find out.
I already spent it.
All right.
All in favor of Joe's, grant application?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, any last call for any public input?
Very briefly
Oh.
here, I have, this interesting link here about that third bill. Is there a comment, would you like that? Is there somebody here who said they were for this?
The clerk's online.
Oh, okay. You can leave it with you. I'll leave it with you. Does anybody else want one?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, who said sure? Sure. Yeah, great. Then I know I've got sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so,
The last link is Kingston Citizens Insurance.
oh yeah, they're a great resource. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, let's move on to our joint meeting agenda. So our first item is an Ulster County proclamation remembering Tom Rocco. I don't have materials to this end for this one.
Yeah, I think Bill does.
No, Bill.
Okay, so I'd like to call our county legislator, Bill Murray, up for item number 1.
Bill, just talk loudly into the.
Yeah, thanks.
But the mic has to hear you.
You're.
We can't hear anything back here. Make it louder?
Oh, no, it's not a production microphone. It's on amplification system. People just need to use their outside voices. With a PA, we'll look into it.
Yeah, we should. I wholeheartely agree.
So, Bill, if you practice speaking there, let's see if the microphone can pick you up.
It's not going to, you need to face the microphone.
Well, I'm seeing you on the closed caption, so it's picking me up from here, and I'm not facing the microphone.
However you want to do it. I'm just telling you from my experience, if you're not facing the microphone.
I'll face the microphone. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm Bill Murray, I'm a county legislator. I have a proclamation to read. This is in honor of Thomas Rocco, who is a community member of ours who lives right across the street. Whereas Ulster County, New Paltz community is proud of the lifetime of service of Thomas Rocco. Thomas was a lifelong learner and proponent of higher education, graduating from St. John's Atonement Seminary, earning his bachelor's degree at Pius College, and later a master's and doctorate from Catholic University of America. Following his passion for higher education, Thomas devoted his education to administration, working at prestigious institutions such as the Hellenistic University in Athens, Greece, and eventually serving on the New York State Commission on Higher Education. And in 2011, in recognition of Thomas's diligence, expertise, and collaborative attitude, he was appointed to serve on the village planning board. In 2013, Thomas felt the call to serve the New Paltz community in a new way, running for village board of trustees, where he devoted himself to water and infrastructure improvement projects and improving the relationship between SUNY New Paltz and Village Hall. Thomas was among the first in our community to advocate for complete streets, including a recognition of pedestrian safety needs and infrastructure projects. This work has grown beyond New Paltz across New York State, saving countless pedestrian lives and improving dozens of communities. Following his time on the village board, Thomas worked with like-minded neighbors to found Ulster Activists, an organization dedicated to advancing social justice in our community, and also gave his time and effort to the Elton Memorial Library, serving as a trustee. Thomas Rocco has led a life of compassion and public service, leaving a legacy across Ulster County through his work as a complete streets and social justice advocate that municipalities, organizations, and individuals follow each day. So on behalf of Peter Criswell, I'm reading this. Peter Criswell, the chair of the Ulster County Legislature, along with my colleagues, who hereby thank Thomas Rocco for his service to the New Paltz community and commitment to higher education, and hereby proclaim today Thomas Rocco Day in Ulster County.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Want to move to agenda item number 2?
Yeah, so let's,
Ellen, you want to say it?
I loved every minute of living here with Tom and sharing all of this, and I am very much appreciative of the appreciation that has been shown. So, thank you.
Thank
thanks,
you, Ellen.
Ellen, we love you. All right, item number 2 for tonight is, exploring a shared municipal building between the town and the village. I'm gonna let Tim kind of take it away to explain these different items. The village already at our first meeting of the year had approved, like a proposal to, write the local government efficiency grant application. But yeah, Tim, if you want to take it away.
Sure, so this is separate from consolidation, so the idea is that the village owns a substantial amount of square footage at this campus. The town also owns the former court building. There's an opportunity to reimagine these two buildings and use the space study that Rick Alfondre's team created about plus 10 years ago. We penciled out how it could be phased. We penciled out how clerk's office, building department, finance, where they could all sit. I think the advantage of this building or reimagining it is that the roof here was recently invested in. Significant improvements were made as far as the insulation in the roof of this building. And this is not a decarbonization project. This is not like spending tens of millions of dollars on a perfect new building. This is using what we have, approaching things in the greenest manner possible, taking a building that taxpayers already own and repurposing it in a prudent and responsible way. And there's this Department of State Local Government Efficiency Grant opportunity that I've been working on for the last month and trying to understand everything that would be included in that, that would need to be included in that grant application to receive an award. So, you know, part of the focus for this building is because I think the opportunity is to not get overly creative and do things like create new walls or reimagine bathrooms or anything. It's like update fixtures, update flooring, paint, make it habitable, make it so staff want to come to work and they feel comfortable and safe and warm. You know, I came to work this morning at the temporary town trailers. Chris Marks was shoveling snow off of the roof of the building. There was moisture going into my office. There was moisture going into the offices where the copiers are. It was originally habitated in 2013. It was supposed to be habitated for 2 years. 2013 is a very long time ago to be in temporary trailers. The town is spending over $100,000 on rent plus utilities to stay there. Our staff, you know, who I've been working closely with on a daily basis now are just like rolling their eyes and can't believe that they continue to be, you know, stuck in these weird temporary trailers. So I think this is, you know, an opportunity to reimagine what we already own. And I think why it makes sense to use LaBerge is because sure, this project is separate from the potential of New Paltz consolidating the town and village boards. The project speaks to a collaborative effort, an integration of local governments, a way that we could more effectively serve this community. You know, I bet, you know, some people like can't believe that, you know, and, you know, Mike's goes to the building department every day. Every single day when I was village mayor, you would have people calling the village building department looking for the town building department. And it's the same in the town. You know, you want to pay a parking ticket, you want to pay your taxes. it's unnecessarily confusing simply by housing the two governments on the same campus, I think would add significant value to this community. So whether or not this community ends up consolidating, that's something for the voters to decide. That's something for these two boards to decide. This is simply about how do we use already owned taxpayer assets as prudently as possible to come up with a solution to these municipal offices. So a few things that need to be included in the application. Number one is we need a resolution from the town and village board. So we have here a joint resolution that we're in agreement that we're applying for this grant. So I would like to move the adoption of that resolution. Someone want to second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, hang on. Do we have
Discussion.
Discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah, second for discussion and
Okay. Well, we just called vote, so, I just wanted to make sure. I think, we have missed a big step here, which is that we have a fiduciary responsibility before we commit to, renovating this building to look at other sites. That's what we did when we needed to purchase, a new facility for the police and justice station. We formed a building committee. There's Matt Eiler, Marty Irwin, some other people. We are really failing to do our job if we just say, this is the one and only site that we're going to look at. We need to form a building committee. And I mean, there are just typos in this thing. It says that our partner is the village of Corinth. You know, we need to be a little more careful about the decisions that we're making. It also says that we're gonna share the costs of $50,000, but then at the end of it says that the town is gonna pay the whole $50,000. So,
because the lead applicant,
but we're supposed to share it with the village.
right?
So how much is the village paying?
Half of the cost, half.
But it says that the town is paying.
Because they're the lead applicant.
Pardon?
They're the lead applicant.
So how does that balance out?
We had the same issue with you last year when we were trying to do the consolidation agreement.
And
So you have to have lead applicants who are responsible for the payment. Then you have an IMA between the town and the village
in which
to get to the lead
we
applicant,
need
phase,
to
which we
put
have.
off the original date of putting the solution and now the consolidation for November 26th. November 2026 made a lot of sense a year and a half ago, right? Now we have essentially 6 months to get everybody in our community.
We're not talking about consolidation right now.
This is the beginning of.
No,
that.
this is integration, this is better government, and also I sat on a building committee
Okay,
with
that's
Dave
great. Let's do
Lentz,
that
with
again.
George
Let's do
Seafried,
that.
with numerous other
Let's do
community
that.
members,
Why aren't we doing it this time?
because we've already done it, because we've already
You have
done it.
looked at other sites throughout the town?
Yeah.
For a municipal.
Okay.
So I think what we're not emphasizing is that the town workers have been in temporary housing for 13 years. You've had 13 years to plan and get a plan. 13 years, that's a long time. It was supposed to be 2 years. All right, so
You know what?
there's the
We
point
should
where
have
you
been
have
doing
to,
that, but to say that the only possible, have you polled the town?
you know what, if you just
residents?
keep,
Have you polled the town residents and said, are you ready to move into Village Hall? Where are we gonna put all the, have you looked at the storage out there?
Yes,
if you,
Where's that gonna
you know
go?
what, if you don't.
the storage will remain right where it is. What are you gonna move? Trailers somewhere else?
Town workers are gonna work here, and then when they need a record, they're gonna go up.
They don't
to
go to the
their-
record storage on a daily basis.
When they do, this is.
There's also-
We have
Okay,
to
I'm
have
calling the
a
question
building
because you're
survey.
gonna do this
No.
every time for every issue. I
This
realize
is not
that.
time to call the question.
All in favor?
No, wait a minute. The town does not have an attorney looking at this for us. So this is moot anyway, as Mr. Frank acknowledged, the town needs its own attorney
We have
to
an attorney.
look at this agreement. We don't have a town attorney looking at this agreement on behalf of the town.
We have an attorney.
you have an attorney at the village. But apparently, as the former mayor, you think you have an attorney, but you're
The
now.
town has an attorney. You went to the reorg meeting, remember,
Yes.
Jan 8th? We
And
appointed
you
a town attorney.
appointed Rodenhouse and Chael. So if you want.
No,
to
we
fix-
did not.
They are on our list when there is a conflict, which
There are several,
clearly
several
here.
firms to look at, and
There is
the-
clearly a conflict. Who wrote this?
I wrote it, and I recommended to the supervisor yesterday that it be reviewed by Ms. Svensson. That's what Emily Swenson. She is one of the attorneys who's on the council.
She is as conflicted as you. But when you're talking about zoning and planning, she's your zoning and planning attorney.
Kitty, there's no one more conflicted than you. Now that I've been in the office, and I've seen your track record, and I've seen what you've done, and
Okay, if you are going to start.
$18,025. Why did we spend that money?
Wait, let's stay on topic. This is like, 'cause this is just for a grant that is due what we took today.
$1,025.
On the annexation issue?
Yeah.
I would ask you to share it, everybody at this table, and you will see why.
It already was shared.
No, has everybody here seen the annexation response from Rodenhouse and Chael?
We're getting off the topic.
Can we stay on the topic, because this is discussion on
Yeah, really, guys. we
the
really
the
need
joint
to- there's a-
resolution
a
about.
serious issue here, a serious concern, serious health issues, and facilities that are not safe. And talk about mold,
Isn't safe. You
talk
just
about-
spent $500,000. And another thing.
please let me finish my
I'm sorry.
comment.
I'm sorry.
I think this discussion is being hijacked a little bit. If we're off topic, we're not addressing a very specific and urgent need of the workers for the town. It's very important to stay on topic, address this particular proposal on its merits, and we each have an opportunity to say yes or no. I don't think we should be, there's gonna be plenty of time to talk about consolidation, the pros and the cons, there's a legal process that has to go through, this is not that moment.
We are not going through our due diligence process. If we are saying there is one and only one site that we will continue to
We're,
look
that,
at
that's,
as a potential.
Our community has looked at this for 15 years, Kitty.
Yes, and.
And we're
I
trying to be
requested an executive
solution-oriented.
session, which you have put at the end of this meeting, because I can think.
This
of
is not an
a lot.
executive session conversation.
If
Go
we're
into
going
executive session to
discuss
discuss privileged
alternative
information.
Locations for a municipal building, it is an executive session,
No, it isn't.
and that's what I put in our.
It's not.
We're
Respectfully,
talking about real estate, and the
respectfully-
price could change if we discuss it in public.
respectfully, the only time that it's in question in an executive session item is if there is a specific offer on a specific piece of real estate that's going on. Right now, we're talking in generalities. And the other thing we'll
Start
say,
making-
understood, totally understand what you're saying, I get it. Okay, right now, the question on the floor is to apply for a joint grant. That's the
You know
the question.
If we want to apply for a joint grant, I happen to have prepared an alternative resolution, which is to apply for a joint grant to do a search for a location to be determined. Now, we don't even need a grant to do this. The town has almost $3.8 million in the building fund. The village has over $800,000 in unexpended funds. We could start tomorrow, send out an RFP and find a consultant to look at the vacant properties and help us choose the one that makes the most sense.
And you didn't do that when you were on the town board at any time in the past.
We didn't have any joint town building meetings, did we?
That's very true. Very
You
good
know,
point.
I mean,
It's been a decade of
we brought it
no
up,
working together.
Right, because we asked you on numerous occasions to meet jointly.
Oh, baloney, and that's.
All right, so you have a question on the floor, and what you're saying may be 100% accurate about the money in reserves to do certain things. But if there's New York State money that can be applied for towards an efficiency grant,
But
what is
absolutely.
the
I have a
harm?
resolution. I've even prepared an
But,
RFP.
but the question on the floor that's been seconded for discussion is with respect to this efficiency grant. So either the board wants to vote, the joint boards want to vote for it, or they don't.
Okay, the Attorney General, the Comptroller's opinion is that when a municipality is going to look for a new site or building, they should issue an RFP. And we haven't done that, okay?
But that has nothing to do with this grant.
The plan says this is the only building that we're applying for. If we just change that to say, to find a location, I'm 100% in.
That's fine. I'd like to call the question to
So
submit
have we
the,
changed it
to
to,
submit the grant as written, and I'm rejecting Kitty's suggested amendments.
one more thing. This building is listed as an asset in the study that the village can sell, right? To help pay down your debt. So it was valued at about $3 million when you have the
We
village.
had it appraised. It's not worth 3 months.
Well, that's what the study says. So if the study is wrong, why are we going back to that? You know, that's what's in the look of the study.
Right, you'll say.
So if this building is worth $3 million. And you were planning to sell it to pay down other village debt. You are conflicting yourselves here, right?
What
You're saying, no,
village debt?
that's what's in the little bird study.
What village debt in the Levert study?
I will read it to you. Okay, give me a minute here. It's,
Because the fire station's 100% paid off. The co-owned town and village fire station is just paid off this week.
Oh, yeah, I meant to make that announcement, sorry.
Congratulations. Yay.
It's probably the best news in a long time. I think. Like, I just wanna say, I really do hear you, Kitty. You know, like, there's just so much more that could be done and should be done. But if I'm not mistaken, there is a deadline of a week from today for this grant, right?
well, that is not a good reason to foreclose looking at any other option. And this is from the Woodward study that says,
So should we, 15, 16, 17 years before we get a new building? Like,
how about a month? You know, let's make this.
There won't be a grant.
How about circulating your ideas before the meeting instead of just
I
grandstanding?
got this yesterday, Tim. You know?
You did? Well, you didn't read your emails earlier? I mean, this is what you did last year too. At every meeting, you would say you never read the emails.
Not true, and there's a lot of.
They're
stuff
all recorded. They're recorded meetings.
in which you said, let's move, yes, and I objected.
And then we would go, and then I would go home and I'd be like, the email that we were talking about, you had already received.
Okay.
You
this
did
is
it
from the
3 meetings in a row.
Right. May I read this? Current town hall offices remain in temporary trailer space and cannot accommodate expanded functions. As such, it is recommended that Village Hall transfer to the town to provide interim space for the expanded town functions, while the town develops and implements those long-term solutions. One alternative is to upgrade and utilize the Village Hall as a permanent town hall. If this is not the solution, the property should be sold with the proceeds going to the benefit of the former village taxpayers to offset outstanding liabilities. Then it says, alternatively, Village Hall could be sold and the proceeds could be used to offset village debt and a new town municipal center can be built. So
So we-
that was the last thing I essentially heard on this subject.
So, well,
So,
number
okay.
one, in what you just read,
Point of
spoke
information.
about.
I have a number for
reimagining
us.
this
Yeah.
property.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so, sorry, by the way, when my phone goes off, the only people who have emergency bypass are our treasurer, clerk, attorney, okay. So the only debt in our general fund in the village is the roof, $450,000. All other debt is water fund.
Okay, all the better, so.
Doing good.
If this is assessed at, okay, everything I sort of said. To identify land to be acquired, we have to issue an RFP, unless we're talking about something with a value of less than
But
$35,000.
we're not acquiring land yet. That's the,
We
that,
could.
but why? Why would you
Sell
incur
this
more
building
debt?
for $3 million.
You can't, we had it appraised a bunch of years ago, the building is worth the land, it's not worth
Well,
anything, its highest investment is in municipal
That's
building.
another flaw in the LaBerge study.
Okay, so we're back to the question that's on the floor. Perhaps we should focus on that for now.
So I just wanted to say that we have failed to do our due diligence if we asked to.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Kitty.
So all in favor, let's do a roll call. Kitty,
No.
Kate,
Aye.
Lauren,
Sean, aye.
Tim, I.
Alan.
Do I have to be an I? Alex, no, out of solidarity with Kitty, just because we need to be chiller for the rest of the meeting.
Stevie,
Aye.
okay.
Motion, the resolution's adopted.
Okay,
Okay, so the next item has to do with, the town agreeing to work with the village and share the cost of the grant writer, who is LaBerge Planning. I would like to move that we share the cost of the grant writer. Someone want a second
Sorry,
it
no,
for discussion?
resolutions. I'm having trouble finding which one.
well, I will second.
Well, you don't have to,
Oh.
because this is just.
Oh,
you
right,
guys
because we
are-
already did this, sorry.
Someone want a second?
We did this last meeting.
Okay, discussion, questions?
Fine. Which one is it?
To be.
This is not.
Any discussion?
Consultant. Just give me a minute, okay? He gives a lot of homework here. Is this the IMA?
No, the IMA is 2C.
I do. And scroll down to that, join the. And then TV. I see, but now, okay, they're got it. I found word for those. It's not open for me.
I hope.
So this is again about this building.
A, B, and C are all about this building.
That I have that word and,
That's what we passed last week.
this
Or two weeks ago.
so, such a, I don't know, a steamroll that, you know, as soon as you pass one of these, you're all expected to pass them all. And
You can vote against it.
I don't think any of these have been given the time that they need for us to make it going to business. I think this is just,
Well, I
you
think,
know, like, we're moving the, well, I think we're just sort of taking the responsibility of us doing our really deep research away.
Okay. Kate, Lauren, Sean, Tim, I. Okay, so the next item, this is a joint draft IMA, so everyone at the table has to vote on this. This is also required for the LGE grant application. So I move that we adopt the IMA between the town and the village to share buildings, including utilities and insurance. Someone want to second my motion?
Second.
Discussion.
This is an intimate, why don't you read it? So people know.
It's an intermunicipal agreement between the town and the village. So if,
Could people in the audience keep the private conversations down?
I can't hear anything anyway.
you're welcome to come up front.
Yeah, there's an open seat in front.
Couple of
Closer.
chairs up here.
So if the town and the village were to share this complex, which the town owns a chunk of it, the village owns a chunk of it, then we would work towards an agreement where we would figure out how to officially share the buildings, share utilities, share insurance. So those are topics that would have to be memorialized. And there has to be a paper trail showing that we are in agreement that we would work towards that IMA as a joint town and village. This is a requirement to be included in the grant. So Joe Londa will also have to have an IMA like this in the grant that he is going to submit.
I'm good with this, yeah.
And
Are we still discussing or?
I'll just make a comment if I
Okay.
could. We were requested to do an IMA to include in the grant application. It can be and probably will be, the one that's on the table tonight will probably be fine tuned and amended. And there'll be additional lawyers' eyes on it. We just needed to get something together for the purposes of this application, sort of in a rapid fashion. Once the application is submitted, if that's going to happen, and I believe it is.
And if we receive an award.
And if we receive an award, then there'll be a more, because this moving in together isn't happening overnight. This isn't something that's gonna be next week, we start moving desks. This is something that's on the horizon, and as we go through the process, it's quite likely that there's going to be some amendments to this current version of the IMA.
Thank you.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, that was my understanding too, is that this is all for the purposes of this grant, which is a big if too.
And at that time, there will be not just me dealing with this for the town and the village, there will be an attorney on this type of thing that will be handling it for the town. And I'll be dealing with the village.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I will support this IMA with the understanding that Roden Housing will be represented.
That is something that's up to the town board who they choose to have review it. One of the alternate attorneys, it doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other.
I'm absolutely opposed that we use Rodenhausen
It's
for,
probably not the time.
Yeah, sorry,
Probably not the
I want
time
to
for
keep
that.
us on
We're-
track, like,
that'll be
we
it.
have, you've made a motion in a
yeah,
second, we were
so
in
I reject
discussion.
you.
So in that case, I am voting no.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Okay, all in favor?
Was there a motion in a second?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes,
Okay. Roll call, please.
Kate,
Aye.
Laura,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Tim, aye, Alan, Alex,
I,
Stevie,
Aye.
Rich. Okay, item number 3 in business
All right.
agenda.
handing the mic back to me. Item number 3 is our joint resolution, of, the village and town boards proclaiming February 2026 as Black History Month. And please bear with me, but, community members really wanted this read out loud. Because we have not passed such a resolution, at least in my 10 years in this building. So I will make it as quick as possible. Whereas Black History Month serves as an opportunity to recognize, reflect, and celebrate the achievements, contributions, struggles, victories, and resilience of African Americans throughout history, emphasizing that Black history is American history. And whereas Black History Month, previously known as Negro History Week, was founded by Dr. Carter G. Woodson and was first celebrated on February 1st, 1926. Since 1976, it's become a nationally recognized month-long celebration held each year during the month of February to acknowledge and pay tribute to African Americans neglected by both society and the history books. And whereas February is significant due to the fact that some African American pioneers, whose many accomplishments, all which took place during the month of February, went unnoticed, as well as numerous symbolic events in February that deserve to be memorialized. And these include John Sweatrock, a noted Boston lawyer who became the first African-American admitted to argue before the U.S. Supreme Court on February 1st, 1865, and the first African-American to be received on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. Jonathan Jasper Wright, the first African-American to hold a major judicial position, who was elected to the South Carolina Supreme Court on February 1st, 1870. President Abraham Lincoln submitted the proposed 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, abolishing slavery to the states for ratification on February 1st, 1865. Civil rights protester Jimmy Lee Jackson died from wounds inflicted during a protest on February 26, 1965, leading to the historic Selma, Alabama civil rights demonstrations, including Bloody Sunday, in which 600 demonstrators, including Martin Luther King Jr., were attacked by police. Autherine J. Lucy became the first African-American student to attend the University of Alabama on February 3rd, 1956. She was expelled 3 days later for, quote, her own safety, end quote, in response to threats from a mob. In 1992, Autherine Lucy Foster graduated from the university with a master's degree in education. The same day, her daughter, Grazia Foster, graduated with a bachelor's degree in corporate finance. The Negro Baseball League was founded on February 3rd, 1920. Jack Johnson, the first African-American world heavyweight boxing champion, one of my favorite historic athletes, won his first title on February 3rd, 1903. Whereas the achievements of African-Americans have been instrumental in shaping the nation's progress, and it is essential to highlight some of these key moments, accomplishments, and historical firsts that have left a lasting impact on American history. And whereas in athletics, George Hogue won an Olympic medal in 1904. Jesse Owens defied racial prejudices with 4 gold medals at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Simone Biles became the most decorated American Olympic gymnast in history in 2024. Whereas in innovation science, we have Bessie Coleman, who became the first African-American woman to earn a pilot's license in 1921. Garrett Morgan invented the modern traffic signal, received a patent in 1923. Diane Bluford became the first African-American astronaut in space, while back in 1983, when Mae Jemison followed as the first African-American woman in space in 1992, and Victor Glover was the first African-American astronaut to orbit the moon in 2024. Whereas over in the arts, Jupiter Hammond became the first known African-American published author in 1761. Gwendolyn Brooks became the first African-American writer to win a Pulitzer Prize in 1950. Toni Morrison became the first African-American woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1993. Also in 93, Rita Dove became the first African-American woman named Poet Laureate of the United States, and the youngest to win that, to be named to that position. In 2023, New Paltzian Kate Himes became the first inaugural Ulster County Poet Laureate. 1987, we have Aretha Franklin making history, and I'm gonna move on real quick to trying to get some more New Paltz things, where the New Paltz is proud to be host to SUNY New Paltz, which is home to the second oldest Black Studies department in the nation, established in 1969. Whereas the village of New Paltz and town is proud to partner with the Margaret Wade Lewis Center for Black History and Culture, the first of such a project in the county and the state. Whereas the historic achievements and contributions of African Americans continue to leave their mark in communities, and we are reminded every day that Black Lives Matter. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved that the village and town of New Paltz proclaim February 2026 Black History Month, and be it further resolved in recognition of the vast contributions of African Americans, the village and town hereby call upon residents, employers, public officials, and all community members to work together to intentionally engage in this joyful month-long celebration with commemorative events that honor and display the cultural heritage of African Americans, whose many and varied contributions have enriched all of our lives in this great community, state, and nation. Be it further resolved, we will send this to all of our electeds up and down the chain, but we're adding to the list the Margaret Wade Lewis Center for Black History and Culture and the SUNY New Paltz Black Studies Department. So I motion that we adopt this resolution. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Is there any reference to that Floyd Patterson, because he was a resident and world champion, and I feel like his contribution was good. So I'm sorry if that was too late, but
it went fast, so I didn't quite notice what the.
I think I missed him. I also did skip a couple paragraphs, so,
Just because he's so well known for his.
Yeah.
activism and was a resident. Just really cool.
Well, in the meantime, we can remind people that there is an incredible display about Floyd Patterson on the wall of the community center. It's a really beautiful display. Well, we should certainly
Yeah.
add to this list, we can read all that.
if I missed him, we can just add him in.
Yeah.
And I encourage the public to read this because the paragraph I skipped it because it was kind of nerdy, gets into just, political people and it kind of my obsession with the New York State Senate Majority Leader, Andrea Stewart Cousins. So we'll make sure we include Floyd Patterson in here as well. And then I hope everybody does get a chance to read this. I'll circulate it, as I always do on socials. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I think we just met Judy Jackson, and I think we have a nice little paragraph about her. Our playground is named after her, so I think it'd be great to add her to one of those.
Awesome. Thank you.
In the playground, we also have a memorial tree for Floyd Patterson.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. This is why it like literally takes a village. Because no matter how many late nights you spend like drafting something, you will always miss important figures. So we will, after the fact, make sure we add Judy Jackson, Floyd Patterson, and then next year we can even add a few more pages probably.
Assuming nobody on the board has any objections to those additions? No, thank you.
Cool. Thank you all. What?
Did you write that?
Yeah.
Wow, well done.
Well, I had Essie's help, reading it over. Yeah, and, she had a few additions. So yeah, thank you. All right, item number 4, we have a joint resolution of the year for our annual request for student impact aid. Yes, the village passed this as part of our reorganization agenda, but yes, we are serious about getting this money. So I would like to motion, that we do this joint resolution. Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. And so, trustee Stassa and I are going up to, Albany next week and, we were invited to the governor's mansion. So, we're gonna bring a printed copy of this to hand to her or her staff. So thank you. I said I too. All right. Next we have our, joint resolution regarding the MELT Act, which is mandating end to lawless tactics, which prohibits masking and requires ID badges for ICE, and the New York for All Act, which forbids various kinds of state and municipal cooperation with ICE. I would like to motion that we pass this resolution. Okay, we got a second from all the women at the table. Thank you.
Quick discussion on that.
Discussion?
So it seems like 2 other acts were brought to our attention tonight and
Yeah.
wondering if either we'd want to spend some more time understanding those and bringing back a second agenda item, or whether we'd be comfortable considering including those. I frankly don't know enough about those 2 additional acts to know whether they should be included in the same resolution, but just want to honor the fact that that was brought to our attention tonight.
Yeah.
Those were the Dignity Not Detention Act and the Access to Representation.
Yeah, the Salazar one, I'm super familiar with and comfortable with. That's the S316 dignity not detention. The other I don't have memorized like a weirdo, but what do you all think?
Could we bring it to the next time we're together, just so that we can look them all over? I'm sure that's really. We got the MELT Act resolution before under the time, so let's pass that, and then we can do the other at another meeting.
I would feel comfortable adding both at this point. The Access to Representation Act is also very important in thinking about all of the people who are subject to detention proceedings. To give them the right to counsel would be a real game changer, and I would feel comfortable.
I'm gonna heed this suggestion from our public defender.
Yeah, I like those. If you're cool adding that one too, then I'm cool adding the dignity not detention right here. Let's do it, but let's just make sure that we go back and make sure we include the correct 2026 bill numbers in it. Yes, please. That'd be great. So I'm gonna add that amendment with the addition of those two, New York State bills. Any other discussion? Okay, cool. So, with that amendment, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Sweet, so maybe, trustee Sesta and I can print that one out too. So item number 6, we have, our complaint against the Ulster County IDA, to the New York State Authorities Budget Office regarding 151 North Chestnut Street pilot. And I had a note here that I wanted to hand the mic to Tim for this item, but after I just share an announcement that's related, that Tim has also shared out. But just a reminder that Ulster County IDA board members' terms are expiring. And so the Ulster County Legislature, and we have our local legislator in the audience, will be making some new appointments. So this is a really good opportunity for, New Paltz people to, step up, who are willing to ask these hard questions, challenge assumptions, look beyond the narrow but for claims, resist rubber stamping, harmful giveaways. So there's that information to apply, and I'll make sure to share that out widely, and get to our clerks too. But more on this topic, Tim, take it away.
Sure, so I went to several, probably I think 4 in a row, the UC IDA meetings where they discussed the application for 151 North Chestnut. Mike Graydon joined me, the other planning board chair. And they, I would say, did not listen to any of our public comments at all. Bill Murray was there as well. I found the entire experience, because I've been to numerous IDA meetings for over 10 years. And I thought years ago, they made a change to the way they run, and that they would actually attempt or pretend to listen to local government. But this was like nothing I'd experienced before. I felt like they clearly were not interested at all in what we were discussing. And some have suggested that what we need to do is to contact the comptroller's office or the AG's office. From my experience doing this work for years and years and years, what you would get back from the comptroller's office is a letter that says something like, the IDA is allowed to exist per state law. They're not going to look at individual cases, and neither is the AG's office, neither are any of the upper elected officials. The process, if you want to issue a complaint, is to identify specific details and then file a formal complaint via the state authority's budget office. And that's what I'm proposing. And I also feel like, to echo what Alex said, the reality is that we need a county legislature who really wants to take a harder look at who they're appointing to the IDA. It can't be folks who are unwilling to ask hard questions and think of things like how the but-for provision works. Because I've made numerous comments in the last couple of months before this IDA board, and they just kind of looked at me like a deer in the headlights. So this complaint is basically just a summary of various things that I've written about this particular application. So I'd like to ask our boards to jointly submit this complaint via the authority's budget office complaint line. Someone want to second my motion?
I'll second. Oh,
Discussion?
for a second. Discussion. So, there's some of the buzz that I heard around town about this. Just want to make sure us all coming together to make this complaint doesn't undo any previously submitted letters and complaints and stuff, right? Yeah. It does not.
How would it undo?
I just wanted to make sure if that was addressed. Like, it's just one more way that we are expressing our concern and disdain
And displeasure with the process.
and total displeasure with this
And we've also
totally
looked at-
inadequate process.
We've also looked at the possibility of pursuing an Article 78 against the IDA, and unfortunately, that also seems like a very expensive endeavor that would probably result in nothing, and it's just incredibly frustrating. That's why I go back to the only thing that I think would matter, and I don't think a monitor would matter either. I think what matters is who serves on the IDA.
Cool.
So all in favor of issuing the this?
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Is this likely to create a precedent and an obligation for us to continue to oppose each of the pilots that might come come to the town and village from this point forward? In other words, it might be a good thing, but are we setting a precedent that says we're going to file a complaint when we believe that these requests aren't reviewed to our satisfaction?
Well, I would be willing to issue a complaint every single time that there is an application for a pilot for market rate housing.
So categorically, maybe we're saying that we're opposed to these decisions, and this one is the first one we're approaching in this way, and if additional ones come, we're gonna continue to resist in this way.
I think it sends that message.
It's not obligating us to, but I'm interested in if we're taking a position like that.
And I mean, he's talking about market rate housing, that's.
Right,
pretty
that's what I'm saying,
uniform.
categorically, maybe
Yeah.
that's an area that
One
we
of my
can.
last public comments to the IDA in relation to this project is like, they wanted to talk about how the village's affordable housing law changed from 10% to 15%. So I said, okay, well, why don't you ask for a pilot for the delta between the 10% and the 15%? As opposed to a pilot for every single unit in the building.
Yes, okay, well, thanks. Just curious to know whether this was gonna influence how we move on these moving forward.
Yeah, and I think to that end, and thanks for bringing this up at the table, Rich, like, I think this just kind of adds to the many year like pastiche of our community's overall responses to these types of, pilots. So yeah, let them know that this is what we do.
Okay, all in favor? Oh, separate votes. All in favor?
Well, no. We don't have a recorded vote. Sean.
We'll take a quick.
Sean, you were away when we voted. You in support of?
Yes, in support.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so our next item number 7 on the agenda is about consolidation. New York Municipal, General Municipal Law, Article 17-A, which I think everybody in the community is starting to now memorize, 17A. Yeah, which is the Citizen Empowerment Taxpayer Savings Act. It's the formal mechanism by which municipal governing boards propose to consolidate. So there's a number of pieces in this particular item, a couple joint resolutions and some proposals. So Tim, I had my note said hand the mic to Tim. So I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, so quickly, so I think there's only one that we should take action on tonight.
Yeah.
I'm fine with 7A being on the first read. 7B is on here because Kitty asked me to write this resolution back in October. And it was to be a joint resolution. So I jumped through all the hoops, I wrote the resolution, the village voted on it, and then at the town board meeting, it was not voted on. So we basically have that resolution from October. So what we've done is we've just updated it. So it includes all the town and village board members who are currently serving and changed the date. But it's the same resolution from October. And the idea behind this resolution is simply to state that our support is if there is a government reorganization, that the vote be a town-wide vote. So both town, outside the village voters would get to participate, as well as village voters would get to participate. Because if it was strictly a dissolution, only village voters would get to participate. So this resolution is just memorializing our commitment to a joint consolidation initiative where there would be community-wide opportunity to voice objection or support. So I'd like to move that we go ahead with the 128 with the current electeds resolution
I'll second that.
for discussion.
Just discussion, I just wanted to say thanks for bringing this back up, because the village did pass this. And, but it was like back last fall, but it was drafted like a joint resolution that kind of like felt like it was left hanging. So it feels good to just tie up this loose end, because it's really important to make clear that consolidation is a decision for the voters, you know, and that's what this resolution does, is make that clear. It's for all voters in the entirety of New Paltz.
So then the other items under 7.
Oh, did we want to vote on it?
I'm calling the question.
So
All in
I just
favor?
want to make, this is not the one. This is the one,
7B.
this is not the one about the collective bargaining one. Have a great resolution. Elections administered referendum, pass a resolution, we also made a 2025 study.
No, this is New Paltz Town Council and Village Board of Trustees joint resolution in support of protecting and providing all townwide residents with the opportunity to vote on the question.
As well, but then I have another one that says New Paltz Village Board and Town Council. So.
Yeah, that's when I said that this is a first read, and then we're gonna bring that back.
So.
We're not, that's just to read over and for the public to read over too.
I mean, if you want to vote on it tonight, I'm fine with that.
I'm not ready.
This is 7B.
7B2.
B2.
All right.
We have a motion in a second.
Yeah, and we're in discussion.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
No, because, you know, we had
Okay.
a chance to open it.
Yeah. Okay, so part of 7 includes, so we have a proposal from the Benjamin Center. Scott is the director of the Benjamin Center. Do you want to come up and sit with us for what's going on? So part of the consolidation effort, and we had a public comment earlier about how we would end up with community engagement. So the Benjamin Center has provided us with a proposal for pro bono community engagement and civic deliberation. So they would assist the town and village boards host events or host conversations so that the community could ask the questions, so we could end up with a robust process and educated voters before a referendum if it's on the ballot in November of 26. So thank you, Benjamin Center.
Sure, if you have questions, I'm happy to answer.
so,
It's a research center at the college that was founded by Jerry Benjamin.
No, which is the building.
Well, it's my office, really.
A question, please. Scott, how would you anticipate doing community outreach for these forums? It's been my experience that we have few but fervent people that are active in their consideration of these types of issues. And as a uncontested candidate, there was no one in my audience to hear me pitch. So I'm curious, how would you conduct community outreach so we'd have a meaningful participation in this dialogue?
So I think we can look at it from 2 different angles. One is.
Come here, please.
yeah, if you don't mind coming closer, sorry.
Closer to the mic, yeah. I think we look at it from 2 angles. One is community outreach in the sense of drawing in people for political participation, for comments, participation, we will do that, I'll talk about it in 1 second. But there's another angle, which is we just need to get information out to the community so that they have like clear 1 to 2 page max kind of things for them to sort of digest and think through. Not, 145 page reports. That's important. That stuff is essential for consolidation if it's to happen. But it's not the kind of thing that I think the community needs strictly. So, okay, so one is, I think we just try to produce things and get them out. Don't assume that if people aren't coming to meetings, they're not necessarily caring about them or reading them or thinking about them. It is true that people don't love coming to public meetings. I do not anticipate that the New Paltz Village Town consolidation process will be a big change in that, right? But we still have to do those things, or New Paltz has to do those things both by law and by, just good governance, right? So, we're gonna try to produce materials that we can get out to people. We're gonna hold events, we're gonna try our best to advertise them. I do think that we will need both the village and the town to really sort of amplify this stuff. And we need to meet people where they are. That means not just doing things in this room, that means going to a Le Pond, that means going to churches and synagogues, that means doing stuff on campus. I'll note, if you look in the proposal, the Benjamin Center will not take a position on consolidation. I have discussed this with administrators on campus as well. I see this as good neighbor. SUNY New Paltz is in the village, is in the town, and part of this whole thing, yes, well, it's complicated, right? And so we wanna be helpful in this process, but we're not here to like put our foot on the pedal, or the gas here in either direction. We can only do that if we do this. Sure, I was just sitting where the chair was. Yeah, that's okay. So those are the main things. I'm open to as many ideas, Rich, as you have for trying to bringing more people in. Social media is not my thing, that's more Alex's thing, but we can work with that stuff.
Thank you.
Good question. Yeah, this is exciting. I just want to remind the town folks that the version of the agenda the village had didn't have this, so, until this afternoon, so.
Sure.
I think we might have more questions
So
for
I'd like to
you.
make a motion, though, that we accept the proposal from the Benjamin Center contingent on the joint town and village board. If we decide to adopt 7A, which is the board initiated resolution, as well as, that's the only one that's really important.
Right.
So I wanna move that we accept the proposal, but it's contingent on us being able to decide, so this way we don't have to come back and do it.
I will second that motion.
Okay, and can we go back to talking to Scott with a motion on the table? Because I was thrilled to see this offer, because the last time we did this, KT was very involved, about 2013, I think. And actually, the college on the village board of that, who was on our consolidation committee, Ryan Kim is, Ariana was on the committee, and what was different then was that it took about 2 years. We had citizen committees, but the Benjamin Center definitely had a presence over there. So I don't know if you're open to this, but if you are, I think whether or not we have rooms filled with people, if we can get some of the people who really have shown an interest involved in these things, I think that would help. I think the best thing the Benjamin Center does is numbers, I look back at all of your research papers today, and you have taken the charts, and this is how much this costs, and this is how much the population benefited. And that's what's missing from the Bridge study. they specifically say, oh, we're not gonna talk about the fire department, because that is a huge amount of money, and we don't really wanna put that into the study. So they say, you know, that should happen outside of the study. Let's talk about that, because my concern is that we used to have an all volunteer rescue squad. And now they are no longer all volunteer and their budget is $800,000. So I want to understand what it means if the village dissolves and we can't have the same contract with the fire department. If that means that we're going to go from the $60,000 a year fire department to $800,000. So that's the kind of thing that I hope you can help us get our heads around.
So I want to be honest here. This particular proposal is really for more for public engagement. Which is not a disagreement with the need for that necessarily more of this information. But this is not as like what I would describe as a research proposal. Benjamin Center does do that work and I do that work, but that's not what this is. I can't commit to you today, just be completely honest, that I can do a study for you on, you know, cost sharing of emergency services.
Well, I highlighted the bit where it said, have information.
Well,
that's
sure.
what we're hungry.
Sure, I think that information is going to need to come, frankly, from, any report that comes from LaBerge, if they wind up being the one to do the consolidation plan. Or the village or the town or other people, and while I'm more than willing to help sort of on the margins there, that's not a commitment we can
You can
make.
help us ask questions.
Of course.
We are not
Yeah.
going to expect you to provide all.
And I can, Kitty, I can give you the difference between a fire district and a fire protection district. I wrote a memo on it last
Yeah,
year.
no, I've seen it,
Okay, great.
but I'm still not clear what that means if the village dissolves. So, I mean, there's a,
Well, it's in the memo.
and what does it say?
That the proposal now is to move towards a fire protection district.
And does that mean that we contract with a nonprofit fire company?
So
Well,
can
we're
I
getting
just ask,
so off the topic
we
here.
have,
Yeah,
because we
let's-
have,
yeah.
we have a
Yeah, we
motion on
can
the
be here-
table.
we'll be here for another 4 hours if we keep doing it.
Okay,
And we have two more agendas to get to.
okay, so the next item just on.
Wait,
this-
should we,
no, let me finish that.
vote? Oh,
Did we vote?
No.
No.
Okay, go ahead. Call the question on accepting the proposal, the free proposal.
Yes,
yeah, so
All in favor?
Aye.
thank you.
Anyone
I
opposed?
theoretically look forward to working.
And we theoretically and actually. literally
Pending
think
other.
so. Yeah. Thank you.
So 7D on this agenda is, we're waiting on a proposal from LaBerge. So they authored the dissolution study from May of 2025. So the difference between a dissolution study and a consolidation agreement is they have additional details about specifically where staff end up, both town and village. So it creates like a tighter framework in terms of like what voters are actually voting on. So I think what's interesting and very different about a dissolution vote is that it's basically a recommendation or a suggestion and the town does not have to agree to it. Whereas a consolidation agreement, what you're voting on is what you end up doing. So there's less room for interpretation after the vote. So you're basically taking the guts of that 123-page document from May of 25 and you're augmenting some details. So we would be looking to LaBerge to basically take the study document and add to it so that it is then a CA that the community can vote on. So we'll wait to get that proposal. And then Kitty, you would also ask for a list of communities currently receiving the Citizens Empowerment Tax Credit, and there's, you know, about 20 or 30 of them statewide, and we would be eligible for the max tax credit of $1 million.
But it is important to note that there is none for consolidation. They're all for village dissolution.
And it makes a ton of sense. Why? Because it's so difficult to get two boards to agree. So that's why they're dissolution. We tried to do this last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every time I try and talk about the study tonight, people look impatient and, this is not the time. When are we gonna have a joint town village meeting and talk about this study?
It's coming up, don't worry.
Like next month?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, I hear you on that, Kitty, too, like for sure, like. And just want to make clear, there's the plan that we don't have yet, and like, that's the thing that like, I for one, am looking forward to having and then being able to grapple with that, really dig into that, so. For me, that's when I feel, I personally will feel most prepared for that joint deep dive discussion at a meeting.
Okay, so no other actions regarding something. Can we move on to 8?
Awesome. Item number 8, America's 250 celebration. It's a commemoration, and the grant application. Come on up.
I have bright handouts.
Thank you, Joe.
I saw where we were on the agenda, so I wanted to. Thank you all for having us here. My name is Joe.
Well,
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah, quite a few
you all
folks here.
in
I'll
the flesh.
introduce myself and then I'll ask my colleagues to stand. My name is Joe Marianic. I'm a commissioner on the Town of New Paltz Historic Preservation Commission. And I'm here in the spirit of collaboration. I'm here with my colleagues from many local organizations and commissions. Stand up.
Thanks, everyone.
Do a stretch. You may, please.
Susan Stanton-Cohn, representing New Paltz Historical Society and New Paltz and Village Town Historic.
Susan DeMark, I'm commissioner on the Town Historic Preservation.
Zachary V. from Historic Huguenot Street.
And Sarah McCauley, also from Historic Huguenot Street.
And in the 250 realm, I also wear the hat as vice president of New Paltz Pride Coalition, because you can't talk about revolution without including our revolution in the LGBTQI plus community.
And the person who named Revolution New Paltz.
And I have been involved in many of the discussions. My house was just designated as a historic landmark and got involved with this and have been helping on the coordination. So
Yes.
disclosures.
So we're excited to talk about this briefly. I've handed you a packet, which I won't read verbatim. Revolutionary New Paltz is what we're titling the American 250 celebration plans that we've put together. And the focus is on history, people, place, and culture. It's a town-wide, multi-month celebration from May 4 to July 4, aligned with America's 250th anniversary. The whole idea is that it connects different programming that's existing from various organizations that are lightly and directly themed to America's 250th. So tours, talks, exhibitions, gatherings, and it's into one cohesive public program so we can share communication and calendar and all of those sort of things, ultimately culminating with the fireworks on July 4th. So the idea is to ensure that our 250th celebration is cohesive and connected and something that people will want to sort of check out and visit for. Our partner organizations include SUNY, Margaret Wade Lewis Center, Mohawk Preserve, Unison, New Paltz HS, Historic Huguenot Street, Dorsey, New Paltz Pride Coalition, Ulster County Historian, Elton Library, Scenic Hudson, potentially others. So it's, as you can tell from that list, it's a wide range of organizations, environmental to social justice and history. We aren't producing the HPC isn't actually producing any programming. We're working with those organizations to amplify it. So we're going to be doing the comms framework, the branding, the website, calendar, promotion, and all sorts of things like that. And the idea is that it's a broad set of programming for families, for academics, for people who are wandering into New Paltz from the city. But it's all sort of building towards the 4th. We have a plan for a Juneteenth program with Margaret Wade Lewis Center and HHS. We'll have guided walking tours, maybe a forensic geology tour of buildings on the SUNY campus, so you can figure out, or your home to figure out what kind of Devonian stone you have. Talks and lectures on local history, infrastructure, New Paltz's role in the Revolution era, environmental programming, looking at the Walkill River. So looking very broadly at place and history and, moving towards kind of building civic pride. To be honest, our ultimate goal is the designation. We want to, but before we get to designation, we also have to talk about history and sort of talk about what matters to us. So this is a platform for us to speak about history and place, and build civic pride ultimately. We, again, in the spirit of collaboration, we want to start to connect the programming of our groups so that we can coordinate and make, and, perhaps create a repeatable model for future programming. So what we have is a volunteer steering committee of about 20 folks. We have tentative participation from about a dozen organizations or 10 or so. And we have about $20,000 in donated professional services between branding, website, strategy, and communications. One of the biggest challenges of doing something like this, as you might imagine, is coordination. So what we are seeking to do is to find an event coordinator, a part-time event coordinator to help produce this. And it's a very, very much a part-time role, but a dedicated role that would bring together all of the organizations, manage the calendar, update the website, and help put out public communications. So it doesn't, again, this role is something that we've sort of discovered through the process since October, when we've been meeting on this, that, no one has a sort of the bandwidth to sort of carry this. So in order to sort of fill that, we are applying to the Hudson River Valley Greenway Heritage Grant. That's a $7,500 grant that's paid through the town. And ideally, if we get this grant, it would cover the coordinator costs, also other printing budget and things like that. We think our application's a perfect fit, although we're biased. We have lots of letters of recommendations with fancy seals on them. And primarily that would be used to support the coordinator. Now, that grant is due in 2 days. We like to cut things close here, New Paltz.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
But it's not, we are seeking tonight your approval to move forward with that. So that's the first ask.
I'd like to move that we
Yeah.
approve the town and village application.
Great.
All in favor?
And once again,
Then
authorizing the appropriate officials to sign the application.
With that amendment, yeah.
So the second ask,
We check to sign it, is that?
I think it goes through the town. So it's a town, the town will be applying for that grant. right?
correct.
Yes.
So authorizing the town supervisor to sign any and all documents necessary to apply for the grant.
Our second ask is for a $5,000 advance from the town to support this part-time coordinator, because we need to start working on this now. The grants will be announced on March 10th, which is a little late, and who knows when money will be released. We can't start paying a person in June for work they've done in February, March, April, May. So in order to have the execution capacity, we need to find somebody now. If the town is able to give us a $5,000 advance, it would only create a $3,000 exposure for the town if the monies don't go through, because we have $2,000 in cash dedicated from the HPCs between town and village. So
And
that's
also budgeted, you have budgeted money from the town and village. That's what you're talking about?
yes, we have,
Your 26 budgets?
correct,
Yes.
yes. So we, putting that money together, we could cover $2,000 if there was if the grant didn't go through.
So the motion is to advance $5,000.
Yes,
And
correct.
hope that you get the grant, and if you do not, then the village will contribute $5,000.
$3,000. Because we
Oh,
would
so the
put
total-
forward,
Okay,
so the total is 5,000 that we're asking for, which is the minimum amount we need to pay for the coordinator, right? And if the grant didn't go through, there would be a $3,000 liability, because we would be able to use our budgets towards the deficit.
Oh, and on this end, I'm supposed to express from Tom Olson his support. He's away tonight, so couldn't come and speak for himself, and I'm sorry for forgetting to say that sooner.
And Joe, I would also say there's another opportunity of a grant which is coming from Ulster County.
Right.
Yeah, right.
There is from Eddie, the
Right,
county
that-
historian, that has not been released yet, so we don't know about it, but there is apparently money aside at an Ulster County level
Right.
for supporting 250 applications. We are apparently ahead of many other towns in the county. And Eddie is very supportive of the conversations we've had, but it's not a document yet that's been released. So we can't, it is.
Right, and Eric Roth, the grant writer from the Preserve, said he would write a piece for us as well to help with that grant. So.
Thank you.
So can I just add
So,
something?
we
As town
vote-
historian, just a quick little sentence, that as town historian, to be able to see this many organizations working together is like my dream.
Yeah.
And it is so exciting. We had our meetings and we even have the community center is gonna do like a little, like a presentation of some of the wonderful workshops they've created in the past. Think of tourism, how great this is gonna be getting people to come up here to see all this wonderful stuff that's happened. We've got Bill Rhodes that's gonna do the walking tour, like, you know, we have some really wonderful things like that. I'm just so excited about it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I could go on for hours about it.
Did we vote on the advance?
We did not. Yeah. I mean, I've not been in a position where we've had boards or commissions ask for advances. I mean, we have budgeted dollar amounts. You know, it creates like a precedent that seems not customary.
You also have to figure out where the money is coming from.
Right, that's
You're
why-
moving
Yeah.
it from general, but you have to move it.
I would like to say though, if we aren't able to secure the advance, we will likely not be able to hire the coordinator, and that risks the entire event from, existing at all. Again,
Well, William
not
was
a
at,
threat,
William was
just a
at,
fact.
sure, William was at town hall yesterday talking about like how to populate this calendar. The town already has a website, right? The idea is like not building a new website, using what.
I'm sorry, that's not the idea.
Yeah.
You can certainly populate the town website with this, but this is a distinctive program that would be serialized year over year with its own calendar, an event program like O Plus or October in the city that is produced across all of these different organizations. It's not a town property.
So the other thing to this that I think no one mentioned tonight, just for us to think about maybe and put it in the back burner for the next couple meetings too, is this is our lead up to New Paltz 350, which is coming up very soon. So whatever work we can get done now to this end means less last minute work on that big project that we have to all take on as well.
So if I could say, I understand the need for the coordinator and the timeline that you're proposing, but I don't understand how the approval of an advance from the joint board would work. So if that's something you can explain, or
Can we circle back on that?
or
Like,
can I
what's the-
propose an alternative?
They really have a crunch. I mean,
But that's not the point.
both have unexpended fund balances. I think we can find $3,000.
So if I could finish my point, which is that
Well,
here's,
what do you need?
The grant.
I've asked to finish my
hasn't been
point.
approved yet.
Thanks. What the question I have is if what's being proposed is ultimately a $3,000 liability because there's $2,000 that your budget could contribute, as opposed to an advance, which seems to be something like a loan to them hoping they get the grant. Is it possible this board would consider a $3,000 funding line from general operating fund, from the general fund for this initiative? I think this initiative is important enough to the town and village to be worth a $3,000 commitment that might not be in advance, but simply be a funding that we would provide to the Revolutionary New Paltz.
Yeah, it seems like it would be very hard to chase you down for the money. So like if you don't get your funding, the chances of us seeing that $2,000 is, could have already been spent, and now we're not really a bank designed to go. I don't
We also
rather
have
be
two
a
other
gift.
grants, another grant also
Yeah,
from
but
the county
No
that.
matter what, Jeff.
should be
I think
getting.
I
First
guess,
thing that can happen is that we allocate $3,000. They get the BMA grant, they get the county grant. and they have a budget they can roll over for the next year. When there are more historic things, like it's a 250th anniversary of emancipation. So something big is happening in 27.
I mean, I also have like the folks who want to see new brackets for the hometown heroes on the utility poles, like they want thousands of dollars. You know, there's also a request to work with the Bruderhof to site new picnic tables down, you know, on Main Street. Like, there's lots of asks all the time from various groups. How do we, you know, this is why we do budgets, is because we budget for these things in advance. Like, it's a hard ask. You know, because then, you know, how do you say yes to one board or commission and no to another who's asking for, you know, it's like, we have this near term, you know, exciting opportunity. Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, so it does seem like, you know, we are in the village budget cycle right now, you know, figuring out what makes sense, and that is going to, like, that's actually, I'm having a lot of fun with that. So the way my brain's going with this is like, oh, I wonder if on the village end, this seems to be like cause for like a different approach of funding for our HPC. That's basically where my brain's been going on it, to be honest. So it sounds like we might just, as a joint body, not be ready to like actually say like we have this money right now. When does the hiring of the coordinator have to happen?
We do have it, we have money, sure, but you also have Joe Londa asking for, like, you know, new kitchen, you know,
Yeah, but
fixtures.
that's a government efficiency grant that he's.
So
Right.
when do you have to hire?
To answer your question, we would like to put this person in place by March 1st. We have a public rollout beginning in March ideally.
Okay. So I would like to propose that our separate boards go and like figure out what we can do. And like, if either or one board or both boards wind up being like, we can't do this, then coming up with other ideas how to do it, like starting a GoFundMe.
I mean, we are,
Can I ask the question?
we want our town to have a big part of the revolutionary 250th celebration. So, I mean, can we at least say that we will find a way to fund this? I mean, we want New Paltz to be on the map. New Paltz is a big deal.
Fires grants and all this stuff going, who's funding all of that?
I think a lot of that's being fundraised.
Yeah, that's being fundraised.
It's been fundraising for a long time from the people who are doing it, not from the government.
I just wondered if it was big.
You know, Lori's big.
It's a giant fundraising effort.
Yeah, worst case scenario, like there's community organizations that we can all partner with for a fundraising effort. It just isn't the ideal situation. So, but I'm hearing there's interest in prioritizing this, but not the idea of where it's coming from.
But I just think that as a town with so much history, for us not to be willing to allocate funding for a project like this, is sad. So I think somehow we need to find the way. I mean, look what these people have done already. They're asking for $5,000.
Right. I mean,
volunteers.
Right, so
Yeah.
is the group that's organizing Hometown Heroes, who keeps texting me,
Well, I
asking
haven't
for
seen
money,
the presentation
and they've raised
yet.
$5,000 of
Okay.
their own to contribute towards a $12,000 system of brackets for the utility poles.
So I would like to put this as like agenda item number 1 for our next joint meeting, like coming up with our solution to this question in particular, because this is the only time we're going to have our 250th commemoration.
I mean, just because I've been on the front line with these guys, and I just want to put a point out there. And just a question, is like, this needs to be done now, because if we leave it for another month, we're way behind the eight ball. If 5,000 for a coordinator is the total amount, how much a month is that? Can we at least commit to a month of that initial support while we do this work with be?
Who, do you have an applicant in mind? Like, how do you select who you hire?
We have, well, there's a job description that we put together, we haven't released it yet. And kind of speaking to William's comment, we don't want to be in a position where we're hiring somebody for a month, firing them and then not able to do the event. So I like that idea, but I think we want to be able to commit for the whole thing, right?
But the
Yeah.
meeting would start now,
Yeah.
rather than a delay.
Yeah.
Because if
I just don't know where, I would need to know exactly where the money would be coming from, and I need personally on the village end to work with our, amazing treasurer clerk, Nancy, like a little bit more on this question. And I'm sorry I didn't do more to that end in advance of this meeting. It has been probably one of the most intensely bonkers months of my entire life. But I can promise on the village end of things, I can be fully prepared with like plan A, plan B for the village end of things by our next joint meeting.
Chris, you were gonna say something?
Could you CIP funds? Village and town both have those, community improvement?
Yeah, there's $1,000 budgeted in there, and
Didn't know what-
again, like the bracket people keep asking me for money.
I'm just giving you a fund.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's where my brain's going as well, Chris. So
I just would want to say that one of the things here is that we're bringing together a lot of different entities, not just one thing. We're really bringing,
you're the,
for the
preserve.
Yeah, we're just, so that's just one thing to consider, is what I'd like to say.
Would it be possible to start hiring somebody with the discretionary funds that you have as part of the commissions?
We could, I think the risk is that we hire them and then we can't
No, I
fully
understand.
take advantage of them, then the whole thing kind of crashes when we don't get the funds.
But
I'm
if Alex,
well,
but if Alex is saying like, okay, we can commit to having this be agenda item number one.
Right.
And if the boards are not able to move forward on this right now, could that, with that commitment that this will be at the top of the agenda, could that discretionary fund balance get the ball rolling?
So the next
I'm-
meeting is February 18th though, and that would give 2 weeks, after that to be able to be like, yes, there's the money in the bank.
we can proceed in good faith, but February 18th is our decision.
Yes.
I would like to pursue this if it's in conjunction with the brackets. Right? Like that's.
On the
that's
town
a
end of things, okay.
Town village, the polls are in the town and the village, Main Street polls.
Okay, so yes, I will also on the village end of things, figure out how we can also make sure we honor our fallen heroes. I come from a military family myself, so yes, let's
So the
prioritize
brackets
that.
are also used for holiday decorations.
Cool.
US flag decorations, welcome back to SUNY decorations. The idea is that they're kind of a vertical.
Yes.
Size fits all, better than the dowels and the plastic things that we've used. Like the idea is that it's a better investment than what we've historically invested in regarding those street decorations. Yes, you can buy banners
No.
to go.
That's gonna be much first and third. So I do, I'm hearing you and, but the 2 items, yes, we can put them both on the, February
Just in
18th
terms
joint
of looking
meeting.
where we have.
Where we find money and stuff, but I do think they will have to be 2 separate items because out of respect for, what this revolutionary New Paltz project is. I'm just saying on the village end, I think we can come up with a plan A and a plan B by that meeting for both those things. Not saying it will be necessarily fully funding from us, but I will come up with a plan A and a plan B. And plan B will be launching a freaking GoFundMe to make this happen.
Thinking, how do we do programming that celebrates the hometown heroes in conjunction? Really roll it out there.
We should really actually pull that into this whole project, is what I'm hearing too, yeah. And to that brackets end, I did start a spreadsheet of commemorative flags that have been requested over the years, for different months and stuff that people have wanted, so this all works.
Yeah, the nice thing about the bracket is that you can buy different banners for a variety of things, and they'll just be presented in a neater, nicer, more durable way.
Yeah, there's a wonderful group, Teresa and Christina working with Eve from the Pride Coalition that have been looking into different, all the different pride flags, because there's
Cool.
doesn't, so, I think this all works. Town, you're cool, February 18th, it's Ash Wednesday, but I'll be here, with bells on, and we'll make that item number 1. Is that okay, guys?
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Thank you all for everything you do.
Thank you so much.
All right. So next up, we have, working on a joint town and village procurement policy. So, you know, at the village reorganization meeting, we did pass like, an amended version that includes, the bit about fossil fuels. And like, the idea is us starting to work towards like just one procurement policy that works for the village and the town. So it's not two totally different things. It started to get, William and I were working on trying to like combine them while everything was in the middle of, agenda flux. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. We should actually just work on this. So I don't think there's like action on this item, but if there's any discussion that we should have preliminarily together on this item, that would be awesome. Anyone have anything that you had that you wanted to address? Did the town include the green like amendment in your procurement policy?
Yeah.
Oh, Joe, did you
So the town did not adopt the paragraph. The town approved the procurement policy and said, we will address this question of adding this paragraph at the joint meeting.
A wordsmith.
If you have any revisions, by all means.
Yeah. So part of the process, I don't know if we want to go into this now, I'm looking. You want me to?
Whatever. Sure. Yes.
Part of the process of looking through this, rather than just putting in a paragraph, one of the challenges we have is so many paragraphs that we put in, we end up with lots of contradictory and not cohesive articulations. What I went back to, I looked at the village and the town in an attempt to look at how we align them. And I realized there were a number of places where the language needs to be tightened up. And we could, I have the details here and I'm happy to share that with anyone. And I put forward a recommendation for how both the village and the town places could accommodate that information. One of the challenges is that the side-by-side comparison that was asked for in that piece is not part of our process currently. So it's confusing as to how you implement that. What I'm suggesting is that we put it in 3 places. We put it in the section where it talks about exceptions, where we actually have a better definition that we're talking about fossil fuel consumption, not fossil fuel purchase. And where we start putting in hybrid alternatives as well as non-fossil fuel, so that we actually open the spectrum for a full range of efficient technologies and things that are available. And we put into the best value equation a number of statements that say best value can accommodate a number of different environmental and carbon zero alternatives. Because that needs to be in 2 places because there are 2 different sections of the procurement policy. One is when you don't have to, the time you don't have to go for the cheapest option, and I'm suggesting that we put, if it's fossil fuel, we put that language in there, but we also change the best value language so that it actually allows anyone who's looking at other things can accommodate them as part of their evaluation. And then there's another place where I would just remind people that that is the goal of our organization, is to look at the environmental impacts as a decision factor in all purchase decisions. So I want to put it in 3 places, and that's why I was suggesting it's the village, that it's more deeply integrated into our procurement policy rather than just a paragraph that is likely to confuse people. So that was the work I did.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that summary. And like, again, like, sorry, it gets wacky when you're trying to just get things like passed as part of your annual reorg and all of that. And like with these kinds of things that we pass, like as governments, they become like these like crazy pastiches. And you're so right. Like on the village end, it made sense, at least for the time being, knowing that we're going to be working on a joint type thing, to make it as a part, like as an add-on to our best value law that we adopted back in 2017. So that's where we had stuck it in for what we passed for now, again, with the understanding that we would be working together. So I think unless there's any thoughts, questions, concerns anyone had for the table right now, I think we'll just get back to the drawing board behind the scenes on this, William.
Yeah, no, I'm happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So is it a fair summary to say you choose to study it as opposed to adding a paragraph now?
The town?
Clarify the language so that it's more actionable by people following the.
You're independent bodies, right, town and village, so village could act.
We already passed ours.
But you did include the paragraph?
Yes, we did.
So the question.
It's part of our annual reorg, it's
So
done.
you're done.
Yeah.
So the town, the question is, do you choose to study this further? Or do you want to adopt this paragraph to be consistent with what the village is already?
I think William explained that he thought it made sense to make sure that the language throughout the procurement policy integrates. Like in a
So you choose
consistent.
You choose to study it further.
It's a work in progress.
That's study, right?
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
We'll
Ivana.
have it ready. That's what I was gonna say, this sounds like a work in progress, you can't just put a timeline on it. And make them say the same thing at that.
Well, they're not gonna say the same thing because the village already adopted language that we would just started with.
But the village is okay with revisiting, like, and passing an amended policy that after we've worked on this all together in light of the climate smart task force's awesome recommendations and whatnot. So while we have exactly what was submitted by the climate smart task force included in the village procurement policy that was passed and set for this year, 2026, we have the intention to work with the town towards adopting a new one that is more integrated, but that doesn't mean the town has that in theirs yet.
So at some point in time, you want to make them say the same thing.
Yeah.
And include those points. So can we just put a timeline on it?
Yeah, can we do it at the next joint meeting?
Yeah, yeah, we
Sounds
will, and we already have, I think, made some good headway, and then I just was like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, just wanna get other work done, so we will get this ready in advance of next meeting.
Yes. We were very aligned,
Yeah,
but just in a hurry.
thank you, that's exactly it, aligned but in a hurry, feels like story of my life right now, okay, so where is the agenda? Oh, thank you. Oh, yes, so another climate smart, item, so, this is our ICLEI membership renewal. And so I guess I have a motion, does this, do we do it jointly?
I haven't looked at our budget to see whether, where this money would come from. So I would like the opportunity to do that.
Okay,
Like $2,000.
1,200.
1,200?
yeah. And sorry, I had more information to add to this, item and I forgot to do that, so I will make sure I do that.
1,200 and it can be shared town and village.
Yeah,
We used it before.
yeah, it would make way more sense for us to share that cost.
Yep, so let's look at our individual budgets and see where we're gonna pull the $600.
Cool. So this will be our third item, I think, for the February 18th
What were you gonna say?
item.
So can I add one other thing to that?
Yes.
Also asking for money, but some of our community does not have a budget, but we work with the town details. As volunteers, they're producing greenhouse gases. One of the things that we have been involved in is researchers, recycling. And that has cost $250 to the town. They passed last year, they added that to the budget.
Ivana, I feel like if we're gonna have a got here, we're not capturing what you're saying.
Yeah, our note taker is remote. Ariana.
Okay, so we have a couple of projects asked for money for. One is the ICRI software, so that we do greenhouse gas inventory for the town and the village. The other is for the refrigerator recycling. We hired someone to come and they give us a discounted price to recover the refrigerant from the refrigerator recycling. We do that once a year so people can bring their free appliances.
Have you spoken with Mike York at the recycling center about this?
Yeah, we work with him.
Okay, because I was on a call with him this week and he's looking at it as like an actual revenue generator for the town to be involved in this.
A revenue generator.
Yeah.
Well, because some of the materials can be sold like.
Oh, okay, yeah, it could be.
So it's a service and then, right, you can sell them now.
So we do, I mean, the recycling center already takes the metal out of them after the refrigerant is removed, and they collect money from the metal. The refrigerant part of it, we hire someone to come and remove the refrigerant responsibly. We would like Mike, who has already volunteered to learn to remove the refrigerant himself, to get the training to do that, and I think that's free.
Yeah, and the call that we have with NYSERDA is that there's like an effort to do like a community-wide thing where New Paltz would be providing that assistance to, you know, those who want to get rid of, you know, some of this material using our transfer station and our recycling center.
Right. So we kind of been doing that anyway.
Yeah.
We've collected them all of Ulster County. I think we had 300 and something appliances one year and we only did 3 days last week, so we had like maybe 200. In addition to that, you allowed us to use the garage because we also did recycling from the college where we wanted to get rid of all their stuff at the end of the year. So we took that and put the air conditioning units that were still good and put that in that. Swap, yeah. So those are two projects that we've been participating in, I guess, for the last couple of years. And so the town would pay $250 to have someone come and remove the refrigerator. But we would also like to have Mike trained so that he can actually remove the refrigerator for us, and that'd be another savings.
Okay.
So
this year,
yeah,
we might need the 250.
let's make sure we have this like from our next climate smart task force meeting and then have like a specific ask so that everybody can kind of like see what we're talking about, because I think Kitty, myself and you all like are like, yeah, we know what we're talking about, but I'm realizing like a lot of our colleagues might be like, what are we dealing with here? If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, just so anybody, it's called the coolest recycling event ever.
Because it is the coolest.
Bring refrigerators and air conditioners. And instead of releasing all of that freon into the atmosphere, we have kind of a model community for capturing it. And then it goes to be safe and stored and the clients are recycled and acceptable air conditioners.
My question would be, where does this live on our agenda and what are we being asked to consider?
That's what I'm saying is we didn't prepare like, you know, like a memo with any sort of dollar asks for everybody for tonight on this end.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So my ask.
No need to apologize. I'm asking a genuine question.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I tagged on the refrigerant thing because I've been talking to Michael too. This week
Okay.
about our drive that's coming up in May.
Okay.
So I think for February 18th, we'll do just a bigger climate smart, like ask item for ICLEI where town and village will figure out exactly where the money would come from. So we can make that motion. And now tack on like these other upcoming climate smart related asks.
Yeah.
So Kitty, you and I, let's work on this with Yvonne.
Okay.
And prep everything that they would all need to know, and figure out where all the money would exactly be coming from, so we can make a nice clean motion at next joint meeting. Sound cool?
Thank you.
Okay, team. Cool. No, that's exactly what we need to figure out for next time, the ICLEI membership period and all of that too. So we will return with a better, agenda. So last item on our joint item is, I motion to approve the Parties Productions grant and project management proposal. The term would actually be from January 1st, 2026 until December 31st, 2026. Do I have a second?
Second for discussion.
Okay.
Questions, discussion? So Lauren and I were talking about this before the meeting. I think the idea is that this provides us with the option when we have like more complicated joint grants that probably take an extended amount of time to chase down reimbursements and grant administration. So it's not like that we're using this for every single grant because we have in-house staff for some, and this provides an option to formalize a relationship with a third-party consultant.
Really good summary, yeah. All right, so I call the vote, on favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, so I motion to adjourn the joint meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna fly
Second.
into the business agenda of the town board.
We have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the first item on the, guys, no talking, please.
Two more meetings.
But we're gonna go quick. So the first item on this agenda is we have a note to the health division.
You want to approve the minutes from the town board meeting?
Sure. I move the consent agenda. All in favor, someone want to second it? All in favor, aye. First item on the business agenda. So we have a note to the court regarding an annexation settlement. And we're basically saying we're working on annexation settlement. This is basically a public document, we're sharing it publicly. So this is basically a response to moving forward with an applicant's request to be annexed into the village. So that ordinarily requires the town board and the village board to be in agreement to annex a property into the village when it's currently outside of the village. So there's litigation. We've had a lot of discussion tonight about money and paying for things. And one of the reasons that I apologize if I sound, particularly irritated, because, reviewing vouchers the last couple of days, I saw that there was a bill for $18,025 that was charged to the town by the attorney who wrote up a memo, and the memo was primarily authored during the last 2 days of December. There was a lame duck administration. They even described themselves as a lame duck administration, but then thought it was
Is this an appropriate
reasonable.
discussion? We should be-
Oh, absolutely.
Well, then I have a lot to respond to, because we're talking about attorneys and litigation. And if it's okay for you to say what you're saying, then I mean.
All right, so let me finish what I'm saying, and then you can add your comments. So, I asked for transition and information from the outgoing administration. And I was regularly told, we're busy. Finally, the outgoing supervisor met with me, shared with me some information about things like sewer district 6 and other things that I was pretty familiar with already. There was absolutely no discussion whatsoever about paying an attorney $18,025 to create a memo in a couple of days that would then be shared with the courts that our town taxpayers would have to pay for. And there was no deadline. There was no reason to do this. And it basically undermined the fact that you have an incoming administration that should have been given the opportunity to decide whether or not to spend $18,025. And we have all these various groups looking to spend money, or we're going to spend money on an attorney. This is also, the same outgoing administration that, you know, there was a note to IT support that said, please help. I'm looking to, you know, delete all my emails so that they're unrecoverable. And the IT support responded back, well, you're not allowed to do that because those are public documents. So what I found in those deleted emails were these invoices. So none of this was disclosed to me during transition. This was tried to be hidden. And I only found it when I was signing vouchers, what we talked about last time, and how important it is that we actually review vouchers. So the idea that the outgoing administration did not disclose this and did not give the incoming administration the opportunity to decide on whether or not to spend $18,025, I think is really disturbing and really irritating and really frustrating when we're tasked with trying to figure out how to fund a variety of projects that this community cares about. So I'll give you the floor.
So.
Without getting into the merits of the litigation.
The only vouchers, because you have now said that town board members don't need to review vouchers, so I went through the warrant. And I tried to see how much road hazard. I saw a voucher for $9,000, so I'm not sure.
And there's a second one for 8,000 and change, so $18,025.
There's only one in the warrant.
There's two.
I will look again. Are we paying Mr. Frank anything?
For the litigation?
Yeah, no, it doesn't represent.
No, I represent the village.
Okay, are we paying you as a town attorney for any of the work between that? I didn't see your firm in any of the invoices.
Because I started in January and I didn't bill January yet. I bill at the end of.
Okay, so you started
In February, you'll get my bill for January.
Which will start January 8th, right? If that's
The
what-
date of my appointment.
Right.
Whenever the reorg was, my clock started running the night of the reorg.
Okay. So, the reason that we haven't spent that money is because you brought a lawsuit against the town and we had to defend it. And I will personally forward to all of the village and town board members the rationale for the town's response to your lawsuit. I'm glad to see in the letter that Mr. Frank acknowledges that Roden Housing is the firm that represents the town. So I have no objection to extending the deadline. But Roden Housing is the named attorney representing the town in this annexation litigation.
Right.
So.
And it's also,
That's not in question.
yeah.
And
there's also there was no reason at all. Right, we're talking about for any other.
Okay, but there's no discussion. So, I'm not sure that any of the people at this table were at the public hearing about annexation. So I will send you a crazy of those. It went on, they started in 20.
So that would have been fantastic if you offered that, as opposed to just being petty and creating.
Please stop
No,
calling
please.
these names, because you're bullying me. And this is, it's
Here we
really
go.
not nice. So
$18,025.
we
Thank
have
you.
had public hearings, public meetings on annexation for years. And the public was welcome to come to them. And you can look at the PDAF and you can see how much support there was for it. And so based on that, the town felt that we had to defend ourselves against the lawsuit, which your corporate friends are paying the village expenses for. But unfortunately, the town is representing the people. The village is being represented by the corporation, and that's who's paying the legal fee.
Well, why don't you give the town the opportunity to decide whether or not to hire a legal firm to write a memo with $18,000.
We did that, and you noted in the Nichols article, we noted in our September meeting, we voted to go forward and pursue our position on annexation. I would be happy to get everybody your statement.
You advised everyone on item number 1.
Yep, item number 3. I'm sorry, I'd like to move the January 26th warrant. Someone want to second it? Second. All in favor? Aye. And then item number 3 has to do with some communication issues regarding a day off and making that right for those staff. I'd like to.
It's a very nice way of doing it.
I'd like to move that we approve this. All in favor?
Aye.
And then I'd like to set a public hearing to change the local law regarding annual grievance. I think the right, so the public hearing would be for March 5th, 2026 to update this law. Anyone want to second it? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is just an agreement we were working on to host some art events at the community center. We can share that agreement, but we have a solid draft. It's just not ready for this meeting. And then department heads, I'm just sharing out that we'll talk about that on the town board meeting on the 5th. Same thing with the liaison reports, but the reports are available via this link. I also wanted to share publicly that we intend to have an official advertisement to hire a court clerk. And then I also wanted to accept the bid.
Wait, when do we get to see this monthly financial reports? Supervisor is required. Where did that get?
Well, advertise to hire for a court clerk.
No, number 8.
Number 8.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right, so for years, we've had no supervisor report, and I think it's important that we make a commitment. It's required by the state comptroller, and it's required to be filed with the town clerk. So I'd like to make sure that, we're publicly committing to, having that information captured and saved each month. So it's just an announcement. The town has not been doing that historically. And then item number 10, I'd like to accept the bid.
Wait, what, can you just go back for a minute, supervisor?
Yeah.
And advertise to hire a court clerk. This is for someone to work, in at the window. It's not one of the clerks to the judge, right?
Yeah, it's a clerk to the judge, yeah.
Okay, because the judge, that's fine, just so we're clear under town law. Anyone hired to be a clerk for specifically for has to be hired upon the judge's advice and consent to the town board. Yeah, town board makes the hire, the judge has to approve.
Okay,
Just so
yeah, we'll make sure all those details are. I wanted to, share with the board and the public our intention of hiring a court clerk. But, okay, and then item number 10 is accept the bid for a 2025 Navistar dump truck with plow equipment, and then we move $350,500 from the highway fund balance to general repairs and equipment, and put out to auction a 2011 International plow truck for snow and defense. Funds from the sale of the truck to be placed in the highway equipment reserve fund. Someone wanna second my motion?
So, that motion would also, with respect to the putting out the 2011 International plow truck, just include in that motion that the town board declares that a surplus no longer needed for town purposes, please.
Yes, let's include that.
And also, there were bids, were they multiple? Was there an RFP for the
Yes,
25?
yes, there was a RFP.
Excellent.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn the town only portion of the meeting. All in favor? Aye.
All right, motion to open the village only board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. So I motion to amend the village consent agenda, to include an item that I think we added after the deadline, which it relates to item 8, rescinding the, January 14th motion to appoint Ariana Bosco as deputy clerk. So, this is item 9, to add that we appoint Devin Pritchard as part-time deputy clerk. This is a title change at the rate of $26 per hour, as additional duties will be assigned effective January 29th, 2026. So, I motion to, approve the village consent agenda with that addition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. And
Alex, I have to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I have to ask if the audience could please keep the conversations down.
oh yeah, sorry.
Guys, we're almost done, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep the conversation down so they can hear up here. Thank you.
Funny, women in politics, we just say sorry when people talk over us. I'm trying to get better at just saying shh. Okay, so, I motion to approve the, village business agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so item number 1 is our, memo of understanding and request for proposals for the Margaret Wade Lewis, Center for Black History and Culture. So yeah, we're ready. So I motion to approve, both the RFP and the MOU.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Do you have a date where we want to have the proposals back for the architect services? Do
You know,
you want to set a date?
should we set a date?
Well, we want to get the RFP out and do the notice to potential bidders. You don't have to tonight, but we can, or you can, the board can authorize the mayor to set a date for the return on the proposals. And the mayor can set that date if you want to authorize her to do that.
Yeah, so
Let's do that. Sorry to interrupt. Let's do that because I think that we should check in with Essie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. So the motion is to why don't we do them separately, because the MOU
Yeah.
can be approved this evening.
As is.
We worked out the changes with Essie and
Yeah.
you and I believe the board. So the why don't you do the MOU first?
Okay, so we'll, let's get rid of that previous motion, rescind it. So I motion to approve the memo of understanding for Margaret Wade Lewis Center for Black History and Culture.
Yeah.
All in
Quick
favor?
discussion.
Oh, discussion.
Please, the version I have as a link had lots of comments and questions in the border that seemed to maybe suggested it was still a draft. Is there a final that
There is a final.
is attached to the agenda?
Oh, we're supposed to, those are very old.
Yeah, there's a final and the comments, some were incorporated, some were not accepted, that were not good for the village.
Okay,
But there is a final version.
okay.
Sorry, I didn't, catch that.
That's okay.
This was the version that we had in our agenda.
We cleaned it up.
We did clean it up.
Okay, I'm comfortable in good faith, voting yes, but I just wanted to.
Thank you for that, flag.
We have the final. If you don't have it, I'll research it.
That'd be great.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Awesome. And now, so for the RFP, may I make the motion with okay, so, I motion to approve the request for proposals for historic preservation architect services for the Margaret Wade Lewis Center for Black History and Culture, with the, amendment to approve the mayor's, designation of, deadline dates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did somebody say
Aye.
that?
Yeah, Stevie,
Stevie.
speak up, Stevie.
I'm sorry.
That thing.
You're doing great. Okay, yeah, we all said aye. Awesome. And no one was opposed. Great. Thank you for that. And thank you, Ariana, for, dealing with my mumbly jumbly, motion. Okay. So second item is discussion of the process for the mayoral appointment. So I'm going to turn that over to the other village trustees.
I do have something to say. I mean, we've heard public comments and the buzz around town, basically, and at the last meeting, we decided that we would do this at the table, openly and transparently, so not an executive session specifically. So, I think it's important that we stick to that, and pretty much that's the only thing I'm gonna vote to approve.
Steve, can you clarify doing what at the table?
Having the interviews open
Oh, I see,
during the meetings instead of an executive session.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Our attorney advised that we do the interviews in if I could just, I had the instinct in response to the community and also, just as a sense of what it would look like to have this be an open process to conduct the interviews in public. And, but it was advised that maybe that wasn't prudent. So I'm open to a discussion about how that goes. And maybe Will's rationale for why not to.
And before anybody discusses anything, it's up to the board.
Yeah.
It's up to you three, not me.
That's fine.
It's up to you three how you want to conduct the process. The great thing about a lawyer's advice is you can take it or not take it.
Sometimes.
It's a wonderful thing.
Maybe publicly, could you articulate why you think an executive interview process would be better?
Well, normally when you're doing interviews for any job, you do them in executive session because sometimes a candidate, in this case, or an applicant may wish to discuss some things privately. Maybe there's something on their resume they want to address that they don't want to do publicly. And the other part of it is in an executive session, I find with applicants, and I've been through a lot of this, and I'm sure all of you have too, in interviewing people, you wind up getting a more open and candid discussion if there's not an audience watching. Those are the two primary reasons that I articulated in my opinion. So those are really the two things. Take it for what they're worth, and you guys will do what you want to do.
Are you interested from hearing from people who
I
have
think-
conducted interviews?
I think at this point, this is a village board meeting and it's not open to public comment right now. So I think maybe you can offer those suggestions in an email or some sort of thing like that. The board is.
You had public comment?
No,
Sorry, we made it so there's public comment for the whole meeting at the beginning. But this is on these three, so, yeah.
Well, I think it's a matter of weighing whether the benefits of having a public discussion and having everybody see things outweigh the benefits of people being feeling more comfortable, being more forthright, and people being more natural in a conversation without an audience. It's really those two things.
Yeah, if I may, Stevie, I think it's very much a responsibility of the job to be able to speak in public and express your perspectives and share your positions and your priorities and your values.
Right.
And so if someone who's a candidate that we're trying to, that we're weighing, candidates that we're weighing, I think that's part of the interview in a way. And I agree that this isn't a campaign. I mean, that will happen at a different time, at a later time. But it is an opportunity for the public, as opposed to us interpreting and synthesizing and straining information back to folks as to why we might have made a decision. I think it's the opportunity for the public to hopefully understand why a decision was made about whichever appointment. So I think it's part and parcel to the qualification, and I thought from the beginning it was a good idea, and I appreciate that Stevie brought it up right away. And so if you talk about that weighing, I weigh it as a more favorable way to approach it.
I agree.
I'm on board.
Thank you. Well said.
There you go.
If I could just, we were asked and we agreed to create a process, and so thanks for the help of Ariana. We made some makeshift notes into a process that was included and shared with the public. There's also a set of questions that were recommended that should be standard for the applicants. There's currently 2 applicants, but there's another couple days that someone could submit. And so just wanted to make sure that both my fellow trustees and the public were given the opportunity to submit additional questions that they might have thought were important. We are time constrained. Hopefully we're not gonna be an 11 o'clock meeting at this one. But within the time constraint, we think, a set of 8 or 10 questions would be a good format for the meeting, for the interview. And so wanted to just either do offline or in real time, any additional questions that we want to share that could make for a complete assessment.
Sure.
And then the timeline is in there. I think it's the best timeline we can do to make it both comprehensive and public.
Yeah, I like the second.
Yeah, thank you for your work on that.
I thought it was,
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it.
I went through it, it's, I didn't have any material changes.
Great, well, so then the question is, do the 3 of us adopt that process with a vote, or is it just kind of a procedure?
I think you can just proceed under that, as long as you're in it, you can proceed under that document, as you may want to amend it.
Okay, great.
And you can do it on the fly, you think of a question, obviously, you think of a question, follow-up question when you're doing
Yeah.
the interviews, all of that.
Yeah, but I also am encouraging us to be thoughtful about that, because that can also introduce bias and uniqueness in the interview and the exchange. So I think we kind of want to stick to the script in some ways. Kitty, I'm interested in your perspective. I'll look forward to an email from you about your advice on this. I've done a bit of interviewing in my life too. And think that to do it in a way that's most equitable and without bias, that it's a standard set of questions and a standard timeline, and you get the same opportunity for each candidate. Thanks. Okay. Great. Welcome back.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm proud of you all. Thank you for your hard work on this really important issue. So our next item is, so we have one more little piece to our sidewalks contract, pin 8761.22, New Paltz Sidewalks Colliers contract. We previously approved the scope and the fee, and now we need to approve the agreement with the consultant. So I motion to approve New Paltz consultant agreement pin 8761.22. Second.
For discussion.
Before. we
Okay,
leave our town, there is executive session on the agenda. Is that happening or not? It's on the agenda.
Yeah, it's always on the agenda, it's a placeholder in case you need to go into executive session.
Yeah.
Oh,
You want to go into executive session? Is
well,
there a
I'm just
reason?
writing to everybody with a request.
Well, so we have,
My agenda.
we have a village village motion on the table.
Executive session is at the end of our agenda.
That's the village agenda. I'm looking at the village agenda.
So was it your intent? Oh, okay.
So on the village end, we don't intend to go into an executive session at this time, FYI. And the town, I think you did end your meeting, but we're here. So, but if you don't mind, we have a motion and a second on the New Paltz consultant agreement in 8761.22. So discussion.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say is the agreement was sent over last week from Colliers. I went through it and there were no changes that I had. It's their standard retainer agreement. I've worked with them in other municipalities, and there was nothing in that agreement. The pricing was correct. Their hourly rates were correct. They match up with the other agreements they've used in their recent rates. So from the legal side, their agreement was accepted.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
for
you so
reviewing
much. Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, everything seemed pretty normal to me. Anything else? Okay, so, I call the question, all in favor? Aye.
Aye, is this for A or A, B, and C?
So, we already approved B and C.
Ah, I see. Thank
Yeah,
you.
but they all go together.
Got it.
So it kind of makes sense to keep, it at least helps me a lot to remember what
Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
doing, yeah.
Thank you.
And I think it helps Ariana too, so, yeah, thank you all. Okay, so our next item is, our legal retainer agreement for Gordon and Feedson LLP to serve as the village's attorney for zoning and planning matters. So we have the contract that we got a chance to look at. I will motion to approve this legal retainer. Okay,
You want me to give a 2 sentences?
yeah, let's get a second and then we'll do discussion.
Well, did somebody second it?
I did.
Okay.
Stevie, you gotta speak up. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You're doing good. I'm proud of you. So we have a second, so discussion.
It's basically the same contract as last year. It is a 4.2% roughly, just slightly less, 4.16. Basically a $10 an hour increase from previous, well within the standards of, actually, I would say on the lower end comparison to other.
Of municipal rates?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely on the lower end. Very happy with the services, and they now have hired, first she was a law clerk, now she's passed the bar, Lori Heldman, who is, going to be she's been coming to the meetings free of charge. Because if there were 2 attorneys, they were charging us for 1. She's now gonna be taking over a little bit more of the responsibilities, but everybody seems quite comfortable with them. I know Rich has worked with her now for about a year, so.
More than a year, and I've had a great experience working with them
Yeah.
since, and,
Good firm.
Yeah, they know their stuff and recommend them highly.
Thank you for that note. Okay, so, I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everyone. So motion to approve our resolution about bills and claims. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have planning board report for
Yes.
this month,
Yes,
this time?
refer to my notes.
I like
There were 3 major applicants to the Village New Paltz Planning Board. A couple of them are significant. One is the return of the historic Huguenot Street Visitor Center proposal. Excuse me. There are some elements of the application and the site plan that are responsive to the community's input, and maybe many others that are differently responsive. There is some changes to the parking. That was a big question. But I think the most important development there, which I think really represents collaborative government, is that the Historic Preservation Commission and the Village of New Paltz Planning Board has scheduled a joint meeting to review this project. So the Village of New Paltz Planning Board, as I understand it, does not have a meeting the first meeting of February because they had no business. But there is going to be a joint meeting on Monday, the 9th, which is going to be a joint review of the project so that this project isn't going to the Historic Pres and back to the planning board without a coordinated discussion about it.
February 9th.
Yeah. So there's that. Another large applicant is Woodland Pond. Came with a proposal for 95, I believe, new residences, which is a significant expansion to the south. There are constraints in terms of wetlands and easements that will be required for that to be possible. There's also the need for 5 height variances due to the idea that they are likely to set the parking under the residences. And that needs to go to the zoning board of appeals to consider those height variances. One thing I think is of note for this board, and I'd love to return to this conversation, is that those 95 units that are proposed from Woodland Pond are exempt from our affordable housing requirement because of either the nature of their senior housing or their nonprofit status. I'm not sure. But with what I would term as a crisis of senior affordable housing in our community, that they are building 95 units without any obligation to see to it that those are accessible to to local community members, especially local community members with less means, I think is something that we should consider as a village board.
Thank you for
So it's a
that.
little off the record, but, I mean, it's a little off topic, but it's on the record.
Yeah, let's make sure we circle back on that one with our Affordable Housing Board and then, so our Housing Smart Task Force is the like the Landlord Tenant Relations Council and Affordable Housing Board as needed, so
I
that's
think-
to be continued.
Great, and I think as a start, Will, if you could help make sure that we understand what that exemption is and what
Yeah.
law that they are able to, use to exclude that responsibility.
Putting a check mark, so it's on my to-do list,
That's-
yeah.
No problem with that, but it's not off topic because if indeed they're not subject to the affordable housing requirements, the village board can certainly take a position with the planning board.
Right.
Advising the planning board or requesting that the planning board perhaps think of other methods, concessions that can come from Woodland that might make up for that in terms of some other benefit to the village.
Yeah.
So that's something certainly within the board's rights to do.
In my time serving on the planning board, I've had a number of proposals from Woodland Pond be reviewed and, there are quite a few amenities, that are still under construction for the facility. There's been other expansions. And, they're generally made available only to the residents. And so I think that, this very large expansion is an opportunity for us to engage and consider where the seniors in our community that aren't privileged enough to be able to reside there might benefit from some of the facilities and or that this expansion might require some affordable units.
That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, that
Mhm.
this board could support
Yeah.
in conjunction with their application.
Great.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially with Harmony Hall having about 2,000 seniors on the wait list right now, my mom being one of them. Yeah.
Aren't they going for a plan?
That's possible.
They've indicated that they have not.
So this feels like the lack of affordable housing might be inconsistent with going for a pilot and public benefit.
Yeah, although we've seen all the other buildings with affordable housing and they're also going to pilot too. So that's that. And then the last one is the proposal for, I forget the address on Main Street, but it was the old cupcake place. The old Jack in the Box, maybe it was. Was the boutique hotel proposal. And they've had a year of approval of their application, which they then came back for a year extension on that approved application and have now come back for another year extension on that application. And it seems as though it's being recommended, or maybe was approved, that it be.
Extended until June.
It was approved to be a 5 or 6 month extension. That building is uninhabited. It's unprotected. It's an eyesore. It probably has some risks to it. And I think we would all be glad if that construction were to begin, or at least that demo were to begin, because the building has been in that condition for a long time. And this is the third.
As a follow-up when you're done.
Yeah, so this will be going into the third year of an open application that's approved on that building.
Yeah, we did hear from, after that decision was made, we did hear from the owner, one of the owners of the property. And he was inquiring what he needed to do to begin the demolition program. So I think the message was set that we need you to do something.
Yep.
So, and that was the board's discussion, is that they gave a long laundry list of things they had done, but they were all almost, admittedly, they were economic, but very little site work or tests had been done. And the board kind of felt that this building's sitting there vacant and something needs to happen. So that's why we did leave open, they could potentially return for another extension, but we only gave them through the, basically the end of the spring.
Okay,
To pull a permit.
awesome. Thank you. So, are you good?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for such a good update. Anything ZBA?
I was away.
Yes, I could give you we have one application right now that for 13 Academy,
Right.
it started as an area variance, and then after the first meeting with the ZBA, it was looked at again, and it is now being classified as a use variance because it's in the B2 zoning district. On the property is residential apartments. The former carriage house, which was approved for, office commercial use. They have attempted to rent it out for further commercial with no luck. So they're coming back with a proposal to make it residential. But because it's in the B2, it needs a use variance because it's required that it be type A accessible. And because of the structure, they can't accommodate that. So they've decided that they're pursuing the use variance. And then the height variances that Rich mentioned from Woodland Pond, which involves 5 height variances and 3 number of story variances for the 3 buildings, because the buildings are sort of split up into sections. It's a total of 5 variances, and they'll be on the agenda on the, and like, that.
Cool.
Thanks for this.
Thank you so much. Nothing else village only, right? We're good? Okay, motion to adjourn the village meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.